File.
Okay. There we go. I think everybody can hear me now.
There we go.
Oh, why didn't I notice that there was no sound? There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So TikTok, now you can hear me. Great. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the other one just bugs out. I can't. I can't. Absolutely cannot. And I see somebody is on the Zoom. You are not muted, by the way, but don't worry, I will mute you. I just like to let y'all know. Oh shit, I can't even open up the thing. Oh my god, I have so many things going on at once. All right. Let me mute. Yeah. Wait, I don't even think I can mute you. Hello, Charlie. Did you know that that was my cat's name? Would you like to mute yourself? Just in case. There we go. Because apparently I cannot ask to mute you, and that's so strange. Oh, maybe they're not connected to audio at all. Maybe that's why. You're good. You're good. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to move this to the side. I think you guys on Zoom can see my shared screen, can't you? Just drop a thumbs up in the chat. It should be shared. Yeah, it should be shared. You guys should be able to see. I just don't think I can see it. You deleted it. I did delete that message. Okay. Can y'all hear me? Oh my goodness, I'm on mute. Unmute myself. Hello, y'all. I'm so sorry I was on mute on the Zoom. You guys can see the shared screen, right? Drop a thumbs up in the chat if you can. I hope everybody can hear me now. Being unmuted is terrifying. Yeah. I know. That's why I'm always like, let me tell people just in case. Okay, good. You guys can hear me. That's good. And you can see the thing. Okay, yay. I'm telling you, I cannot wait until I have a system where I click one button and everything is live everywhere. Hello, it's Francina Simone. You know what I'm saying? Like, life should be that way. And I have a master chat that just takes it all. You know, I'm a big thinker, y'all. I love I love convenience. I love it. I love it. That is the one. Oh, God, I love convenience. And I don't think that convenience is inherently negative or terrible. It does cause innovation. You know what I'm saying? But you know, convenience and going with the flow tend to go together. So I think it's quite natural. I think when we go against the flow and then we seek to be convenienced, it can be negative. Okay, so I think we're good to start. Oh, we got like 3 more minutes. I'm going to see. Listen, people roll in. I feel like a lot of us are already here. I know that all of this stuff, guys, I'm so sorry. Well, it's not my fault. Listen, I told you all it felt like I got hit with Mercury retrograde way before. Because when it comes to like technical things just being like on the fritz everywhere, I swear to God, I don't even try to control anything. I think that's where I'm going to start with class. Actually, let me do this so you guys can see how my thoughts tend to flow. So, chat about retrograde, air energy on the fritz. So I can remember, what did I want to say about that specifically? Oh, hands-off approach to to-dos and well, a to-do is a task, but to task and what's another word? Routines slash schedules. There we go. We'll chat about that. For real, the last few weeks have been hard as oh yeah. By the way, leave into the chat how you've been doing the past week. Any questions that you have, stuff like that. I'll jot it down in here and weave it in, talk about it as we cover some current events. And then, as usual, we will jump into the FAQs. I'm gonna try to get like 3 or 4 done. I was trying to find where we had last left off, and I looked through about 5 of them. They were all really short. I think there was some extra information, but I saw like at least 2 to 3 lines and I was like, "Oh, this should be simple." So hopefully we can get through a few of them, cuz I have quite a few to get through. So that would be so cool. I know. A full button, a full, I just click one button and it's boom, everything. Oh God, I know it's gonna happen. I live for the day. You know, my husband, he was a tech. He was into tech before most people knew what tech was. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, I remember the day that I got I think it was like the second generation iPhone, because I was a BlackBerry person for quite some time. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking about my entire life back then. Oh man, you couldn't tell me nothing. Okay, with me and my BlackBerry, my fucking QWERTY keyboard, I had like, oh man, on the curve was the best. The pearl was really a pearl to me, but the curve, that bitch was sleek. You know what I mean? Anyways, I don't think that was a full QWERTY, was it? I don't think so. Anyways. You know, he used to envision watching TV on his phone before we even had full internet, like on the phone, like when just they're like, look, I think like we were still using that weird Quora, I can't remember what it was called, Quora or something like that on BlackBerry. I don't remember what it's called, but before we even had apps, you know what I mean? This guy was like, you know what? I'll be happy when I can watch an actual show on this thing. And that's because he used to upload his Inuyasha episodes to his iPod. And so he would watch him on that while he was like at work or something like that. I'm telling you, he was like, man, anything I want, I just ask him because his vision goes far. So he was envisioning the phone, watching like streaming on Netflix and stuff like that way before it was even a concept. And we were just watching it slowly happen. And when I tell you, one day I'll be able to push a button and boom, live everywhere. I don't have to, like, the setup is the setup. I don't need to, in fact, setting shit up is even easy. I just like connect my accounts and then it just does it all for me. You know what I'm saying? The moment I get to, I can see it, I can taste it. I know it is on the wind. And if I can encourage anybody out there in the cosmos to make my wish and my dream come true and to deliver it to me, to deliver it onto me in a timely manner. Oh, everything working. I'd be grateful. Anyways, that was me sending out a prayer. You can't tell. I'm sending out a prayer. So, anyways, yeah, no, he's wild with it, honestly. I say it all the time. And he's just like, meh, you know, I'm telling you. Sometimes I feel like the time traveler's voice. You know what I mean? Not the show. The show, I thought that the show was a little weird, you know, or was it a movie? I can't remember. But I thought that was a little bizarre. And then I looked into the book and I was like, yeah, no, I don't know. This seems like somebody who wrote this was trying to make some things, some weird things. Okay, I don't know how to wrap my mind around this, but the sentiment of the time traveler's wife, like knowing someone who is always moving in and out of time, oh man, it's so real. Okay, so let's see. I'm seeing in the chat. I went through some portals, visited Homeland, still have to catch up on Peter Pan recording class was when I was in Homelands. Oh, and want to quit my job. I had a Pantech duo with a full QWERTY slider. Oh, the Pantech. Oh man, that one's a throwback. Hold on. Pantech duo, because whoa, that is such a throwback. I feel like I've sold a few of these. Oh my goodness. I could not stand slide keyboards at all. Samsung, I tried a Samsung. I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't the Switch, was it? I don't know. I tried a Samsung one and I was just like, man, like within 2 weeks, I was like, nah, give me my iPhone back. I was just like, give me my iPhone back. And since then, I'm still on the iPhone. I don't know. You know, ever since Steve Jobs died, like, I'm sure he was not the best person in the world, but he was definitely a good visionary for that particular company. You know what I mean? And ever since he's died, I'm like, oh man, it's a ticking time bomb until I find something that, like, you know, like, until I find that replacement. But, you know, I'm open, but also, oh, Jesus Christ, you know, I like my iPhone. Anyway, that one took me on down memory lane. Can you guys tell? I was over here reminiscing on my iPhone. I'm feeling excited as I push through my self-sabotaging stagnation to propel myself for what's next. Yes, okay, so self-sabotaging stagnation. You know what? Funny enough, we might have some FAQs that match up with that, like stagnation, when you stand still, but then also there's self-sabotage from keeping yourself standing still. It's a timing issue, right? Actually, I'll show you, I think, on the wait. I need to see. Does TikTok see this one? Okay, hold on. TikTok, I'm gonna close your eyes. They do. And you guys are seeing this on Zoom too. Okay, anybody who's on Patreon will not see me on the PDF right now. But that's just all. I think I did link the PDF in the chat, didn't I? Let me go over there really quick just to double check. Oh my god, I have so many things open. Okay. Over here. Do I have it linked? No, I don't. But that's okay because copy and paste. The link is now in the chat. So, Tools of Consciousness PDF. Okay, I'm going to link it here. I always like to link it every class so that you guys always have the PDF and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and in Zoom, if you are also not having it, but you would like it, to download, the link there is in the chat too. And if you're on TikTok, Patreon, it's easy. Just go there and you can DM me if you're lost. If you're like, I don't know how to find this thing, I will for half a second in my mind go, why didn't you just read? And then I'll go, oh my God. Okay, well, it's fine. I understand. There's a lot of stuff. In other words, yes, I do judge you for 2 seconds for not like just taking the time out to read stuff, but also I am very much aware of where you may be in life as to why you did not take the time out to read stuff. So I will, help you along the way. However, I haven't noted it and it is in my account. Meaning like as a teacher, I notice that if you make it a habit of it, I'll just ignore you and then like send you a link maybe a little bit later that tells you all of what you're looking for at the nick of time. And then you'll go, oh, gee, it was there all along. Oh, silly me. And then you'll remember to read things. And it's a nice reminder. But that's just me as a teacher. Me as like a human being who gets it would just send you the link. So if you ever feel tortured by me, just know it's just me probably being a teacher in some way, shape, or form. Let me see. So those are the links. Not to scare anybody at home. I don't torture the students. Just in case you're watching this on TikTok or you're watching this somewhere else. I don't know. I don't normally torture people. But anyways, there's the links if you need them for the PDF. But when we talk about, what was it? The self-sabotaging stagnation, right? Ooh, it's been a roller coaster, but I can't tell if it's because I'm adjusting to the pace or if I should take it as an indicator to slow down. Both of these questions are timing literacy questions, right? So timing literacy is in our tools under the operational domain on the worksheet there. Let me see. Jesus Christ. It's in our timing domain. So it's at the bottom. You've got role, regulation, action, and timing. These are different domains. I talk about them all the time. But these are the different general areas that if you're having some breakdown in consciousness, it's probably in one of those 4 areas. And so this one is timing, right? So these 2 questions, right? Should I slow down? Am I adjusting? Do I stop? Do I go? These are all, I don't know what my timing is. I'm not in the sync of the cycle. I'm not in sync of the cycle. So one, if you can say I'm not in sync with the cycle objectively, if I told you we've got Brenda on the line. Brenda has called in. Hello, Francina. Yes, Brenda, what can I do for you? I'm not in sync with my cycle. What's your first like piece of advice to Brenda? You know what? I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood these days. I'm so sorry, y'all. I have been full forced into language arts. Like I'm full force in language arts right now, and like for the younger kids. So if I ever tell y'all to pull out your pencil, pull out a journal, answer the question, you guys have you'll know that you've been kidnapped by the English teacher in me. But I'm serious. If you have a pen and paper next to you, which I hope you always do, bring some pen and paper to class in some way, shape, or form. Just anything to be able to jot down some things on, because practice jotting down notes as you're listening listening to stuff, it helps to kind of anchor it a little bit. And write in shorthand. Don't try to write everything that I say. Just write in shorthand. You can always watch these replays on Patreon. You know what I'm saying? There's no bar to access them. You just go to Patreon, you can rewatch it, and so you don't need to write everything. Just write like catchphrases, just things, little things, just to kind of help you remember. But if you can, write down what is the advice you give someone who cannot figure out how to get into sync, or who's missing their cycle, who's missing a cycle, who's out of sync, who keeps missing the cue to do something. They don't know. What would your first general piece of advice be? And I would say write that down and journal about it. Journal like what that comes to mind for you. That's going to pull up all the tools that you do have for navigating any cycle issues. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind, so let's talk about my tools. That's what I'm here for, right? So my tools would be, okay, if first of all, like, do you know what your cycle is? Do you know what cycle you are in? Can you identify any patterns of behavior so far? What is the pattern that you are spotting? These are the questions that initially come to mind to kind of help me navigate and figure out why someone is unable to read their own energy flow. Why are they unable to get into a rhythm with themselves? To be able to know, I'm tired, so let me rest. I'm hungry, let me go eat. I'm ready to do a mental activity, let me go read these things. I need to stop so I can study this thing because I said I'd make time for this. I have studied enough. Let me stop. Let me go do something else. I said that I was going to exercise today, so let me go do my stretching. Okay, I've stretched enough. Let me go do this. I have all these things that I want to do in my life that I have to do, and I'm trying to, in some way, shape, or form, integrate them in. But why am I unable to read the timing, right? Because timing is a daily thing. I'm going to ask, my initial advice is it's funny. My initial advice is to ask questions. Maybe that's just, I want to pause and highlight that. My initial piece of advice for anybody all the time is to ask questions. Do you like, let's sit with that for a minute. Brenda says I have a problem, and my first thing is to ask questions. Generally speaking, when people fill out the questionnaire, like the student one or a one-on-one, there's a lot of questions that you have to answer. Because I need context, right? Context. That's why you ask yourself questions. When you notice that you're having an issue, any issues, so like a timing issue, ask yourself questions about time. What cycle am I in? Why can't I figure out what cycle I am in? What do I need to know? What's stopping me from figuring this out? And you'll be surprised. The issue comes up right away. Just write it down. Don't judge it. Don't explain yourself. Just capture. So a lot of what I say, and I say this all the time in a lot of different ways. Okay. So, I'm constantly changing how I say the exact same thing to cover all the bases. But I always mention looking at your life in an objective way when you go inward, right? When you go inward, you become an observer, and you are looking at yourself objectively. You must always ask questions. And when you ask someone a question and they give you an answer, what do you immediately do? You write it down. You don't stop them and edit what they're saying. You don't stop them in the middle of saying what they're saying to clarify or to change or to question more because they're starting to say something that you aren't so sure is the thing. But how often do you do that to your own self and your own brain? You start answering a question that you have by explaining away what came up immediately. So this gets you to stop. Sorry, the camera fell away. But this gets you to stop the being in your mind and spinning a narrative, and it stops that so that you can see what narrative is being spun, what is constantly being spun. So that's the capturing. You want to capture that, and think of it in terms of like being a writer. That can be helpful. I mean, like, obviously that's my bias, right? That's in the world where people don't know me, I'm just an author. I don't go around telling people I'm a witch. I know all these things. I'm a teacher and an author. It depends on who I'm meeting and why, and that's the nice thing about having multiple, like, different kind of roles that I play, right? Is I can introduce myself differently. Oh, sorry, y'all. Hold on. I'm drinking my electrolyte. It's very nice. I hate fruit punch though, but it's so nice for when I'm talking because it keeps me really well hydrated. But geez, if you see me making faces while I'm drinking it, it's because I can't stand the fruit punch. But it's just enough. Okay. Where was I? What was I? Oh yeah. So the first thing I do is ask questions. When you ask questions, that's your best way of getting context. Context allows you to capture what might be an issue for you. And that's the fastest way to kind of get out of a timing issue. It's just to ask yourself, why or what am I missing? What is the problem? Why am I like what is the cycle that I'm missing? And anyways, let me see. Oftentimes down here we have in the signature pattern urgency. Urgency is oftentimes a feeling that comes with timing issues, is you are led by urgency. So any type of urgency that comes up is an easy identifier. And then hesitation is another one too. There's many other different types of things that come up in timing. Well, let me scroll down since we're talking about it. Oh wait, let me see. Yeah, before we scroll down, I'm trying to get it so that it looks decent on TikTok. Okay, there we go. Before we scroll down, so the tools. So in a timing issue, the tools are usually like timing literacy and integration cycles. That's on the PDF for anybody who's able to see it. I just wanted to mention that before I scroll down, so you guys would know what I was scrolling down to. So down here, when we look at timing tools, they're all the way at the bottom. There you go. It's like phase 5. So generally speaking, when you're dealing with any type of consciousness issues, like you're manifesting, you're doing anything with intention, you are navigating your day to day, whatever it is, by the time you get to movement, right, you've already either caught an idea or you've already done something. It's just or not done something, but you've already had some type of vision, some type of inclination. You might be working towards a goal, right? But you're at a threshold, and the threshold requires new movement forward, or you to make a new choice about something, or you to do something. And oftentimes, when we have to confront new choices, when we have to confront new information, when we have to confront new options, you notice the common word here is new to you. When it's new, you can feel hesitancy. You're hesitating, one, because it's unfamiliar, and we tend to hesitate with unfamiliar. And the unfamiliar can also, drag up fears and stuff like that. And uh, when it comes to like the fear, I'm thinking of, there's a book that I'm reading right now. And I can't start a book without mentioning it. Man, I was like, I'm not going to mention this until I'm at least halfway through, because I don't want to have to explain 50,000 things or 50,000 times that I don't know this, and this, because I haven't finished it yet, because there's a lot of information. It's pretty dense. Anyways, so here I am already breaking it. But yeah, I'm reading this book called The First Voices. It's by Robert Lawler. He's an anthropologist out in, or was maybe an anthropologist out in Australia. And part of his understanding between him and the Aboriginals was that in the Western world, when people, the Aboriginals stay in the present tense, the present time. Okay. And so I think this is probably the best explanation that I've ever read for what I'm talking about. But it's this. You have a thought or an idea. I'm going to have to close my eyes to say all this because this is wild. But you have a thought and an idea. Okay. And your thought and your idea, when you sit in that, you can project it outwards. But when you project it outwards, you must let it go. You must let it go outwards. You cannot go with it. You are a human being. You cannot move from your spatial time, right? I can't physically move at the speed of my thought. That is the speed of light. That's insane. I cannot physically move at that speed. And so you have to let your thought, which is literally the speed of light, go without you. That's the letting go of whatever ideas you've got going on, right? And so you might have an idea of what movement forward looks like. You might have an idea of what's expected of you, of what you should do, of what you could do, of what you wish you could do in order to, you might have all of these ideas that are around you, and it's hard to let them go because you have expectations. You have this like idea of what it will be, and if it doesn't look that way, you start freaking the fuck out, and it's like, well, of course it's not going to look like your expectations. I don't mean to call you all dum-dums, but how can you have expectations about the unknown? It's something new. You know what I mean? You guys are smart. You know what to do up until it's new. And so then it's not for you to know, it's for you to discover. And so discovery means you have to let go of all your expectations. You can't have any. The hard part of, I keep tapping the table, but the hard part of being, I guess, like like living longer in life is that you have more experiences, and so your ability to pattern recognize is pretty extensive. You know what I mean? Is that a heart thump effect? I know that feels like me. Boom, boom. Every time I do it, I'm so sorry though, because I know that you guys, it's picking up on the mic. But you know, like you have the ability to like pattern out for a very long period of time. Or I should say, you have the ability to pattern out quite a lot of what life should be like, because you're like think about it, man. Like, how many of you, just raise your hand, have had a career, like any type of wild accomplishment in your career? You've just done something. Like, you've legitimately, what didn't exist before exists now because of you. And that includes any project you're a part of, that includes any team you've ever been on, that includes any product you've ever been in the process of making in any way, shape, or form. That includes the events that have happened because you participated. You get what I'm saying? Like there are a lot of you who have done something in some way, shape, or form, especially those of you who have led the charge in things. That requires an awful lot of vision holding. You have to hold space for visions like that to be able to play a part to its fullness. So you have to be able to to be multifaceted, one, because you're also like, think about, you know, keep your hand up if you're also some of the people who looks around and you solve problems before they become problems. Nobody said thank you, but you don't need someone to say thank you because you also want this thing to work. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need the thank you. You're not looking for a thank you. You're trying to make this thing work. So you're willing to play whatever role is necessary because that's what energy you're bringing to it, right? If your hand is still raised, understand that that requires an enormous amount of pattern recognition. You are literally building a tapestry while other people are weaving the individual threads, and you are orchestrating it. You just have no idea that you're the one orchestrating it, but hello, who else sees it? Like, think about it. If nobody else saw the vision and it was your vision and you made it happen, right? You were orchestrating. In a lot of ways, we call this managing teams. We call this managing people. We call this teaching, training. Anytime you're in charge of orchestrating from the beginning to the end, and there is some expectation and you meet it and move forward, you have those skills. You have a very specific vantage point and point of view. Okay, not everybody has that point of view, not everybody has those skills, and that's why it can be very disturbing if you're in a space where you're just supposed to be you're supposed to be like a peon or something like that and just happy to be there, and but it feels like you're an undercover spy because you have been in some way, shape, or form, hold your hand, barred from your true potential or your true role for some systematic issue, right? And so you become, yeah. Like, it's the whole story, right? Like, that's the story of our lives. But yeah. So anyways, you have a tremendous skill to be able to orchestrate. So therefore, you get to the point of believing that you own time in the incorrect way. You think that you are like, you can make it happen. You know the timing. You've never known the timing. You were always just the most aware of flow. But because you were the only one in your vicinity with that level of awareness, you never really got to butt up against other people for the most part to teach you that there is something other than you doing this, that you are in flow with something. And because you're in flow with something, it goes your way, even when it doesn't seem to be going your way, because you're always willing to play a part. So because you're always willing and open, you're like unconsciously like on the side of nature, if that makes sense. And so you get a different perspective to life than a lot of other people. And so when that happens, you have to understand that you are part of the flow. So observe the flow, not yourself. So This is why it becomes easy and interesting. When you want to know timing, if I told you that, if I told you, ooh, if I told you that the only way to catch salmon is to wait for low tide, right at the mouth of the river, where the river meets the sea, you wait till low tide, and you just put your net out early in the morning, wait till low tide, and then come out and then yank that bitch, and oh my god, you'll feed a whole army. And what if I told you it's like that? It'll be like that every day for the next 2 months. And it doesn't matter. And, like, all it takes is just one setup. So all of us just get together over there. We all set out the net. Then we, and we can feed everybody. And that's how we catch food over here. Right? And I said, just wait till low tide. What's the timing? Is the timing my fucking brilliance? Oh, I'm so smart. I'm so smart. I figured out how to catch the fish. Or is the fucking ocean? Are you gonna just you gonna follow me around, or are you gonna look at the ocean for high or low tide? Right? High or low tide is the ocean. It's an external force, and this external force just so happens to start paying attention to that in your life, meaning in your day-to-day life. When you are in your bed about to go to sleep and you're on your phone, see where the planets are and just ask yourself a question about your emotions based on where the moon is. Just ask yourself if your emotions feel, if the moon's in an air sign, do your emotions feel more intellectual right now? Or do you feel like, are you your thoughtful you're feeling you? Are you feeling inspired and creative like a child? Do you feel sensual? What are your feelings like right now? And if they're more airy, they're more intellect based, you're trying to analyze everything all of a sudden, then right? Oh man, that's what it's like when the moon's in whatever, you know? Probably Gemini. I was kept trying to say Libra. I mean, only Libras really analyze everything, you know what I mean? It's a Virgo. It's like a leftover Virgo thing because it's the balancing. So it's like the final, so it's like everything has been analyzed. Boom, is Libra, So it's like it's stepping out of analyzing, but it's still got that energy of like everything has been analyzed and so it is weighed. I think only people who have ever taken accounting classes and enjoyed it probably understand that feeling of like it has been weighed, that like you get after a deep dive into anyways, the point is that's like an air sign, right? Now, if the moon's in a fire sign, whichever fire sign it is, just ask yourself, like, how do you feel? Do you feel spicy? Do you feel charged, irritated, frustrated? How do you feel? Are any of these feelings a bit more on the fiery side? That could be passionate. It could be passion of like pleasure, passion of like, anger and frustration. You know what I mean? Is it in the water sign? Just ask yourself that, just do that every once in a while. Every once in a while. This is you bringing it into your actual life. You're asking yourself, where is this thing and how do I feel right now? You don't need to do that with every single planet. Just do that with the moon sometimes. You do it enough sometimes, you get used to it. Then do it with Mercury sometimes. Mercury doesn't move that much. I mean, it does, you know what I mean? That's the second fastest moving planet. But it still takes a while. You know what I mean? Mercury doesn't like zip, zip, zip in like the moon does every 2 days. And then who's after that? Who moves fast? The sun? Maybe. Or Venus? I can't tell. But you see what I'm saying? Like these bodies move so slow that you can really take your time observing those ones. Focus on the moon. Focus on the moon. How do you feel? And see how it matches. Bring it into your day to day. Then eventually you'll stop doing that just at bedtime. You'll also want to do that in the morning to see if you feel anything different or how your emotions pattern out throughout the day. Keep a journal where set a timer for 3 times a day that it goes off and you stop what you're doing and you jot down the first few things that you're feeling, regardless of how you feel. Even if you feel like you don't feel like it, you're going to jot that down. And when you do that, you are now in the engineering sector of your life. You are paying attention to energy and how it flows through you rather than being in this like whirlwind of the flow, trying to figure out how to control it, how to figure out how you can make it work in your life, how you can stop trying to figure it out. You're not smart enough. And I mean that with all love, I do. But like if I'm not smart enough, you are not smart enough. And I'm saying that as like somebody who recognizes I am just human. Okay? Not because I think I'm that intelligent. I'm saying I'm human. There is no possible fucking way that I could be in control of the cosmos. That sounds fucking insane. I am human, you know? I was an egg and I had to learn about this. While learning about it is a very microcosm of learning about the self. They're one and the same for sure. But that doesn't mean that you can control the big one just because you were a small microcosm of it. You can control yourself, but not the universe. So we don't try to like use these things to our advantage. That is a capitalistic way of thinking because, and I don't mean like boo hoo commercialism, boo hoo. I don't mean like that. I mean capitalistic in thinking, as in this can be used to enhance me so I can do stuff out in the world and take shit. That's the capitalist. Like it's a survival mechanism, right? So you try to use it for your survival, and it is the opposite of a survival mechanism. It is life. You know, life doesn't survive. Life thrives because life also includes death. You know, life also includes all of those things. It's in the seed of it. So, you know, that's why I'm I just want to get it. I just want to like really bring it to home, the concept of you want to get into the flow, and the only way to get into the flow is to observe it. And so you observe how it flows through you. So you just link what's going on out there to figuring out what is happening right now. Now, I'm going to mention, oh, you know what? Let me open up my notes really quick because I'm going to write that down here too. Presence is going to be a huge topic. Let me see. What else has been at the top of my mind? Oh, before my mind disappears. It's also kind of hard because I'm telling y'all. Actually, no, it's actually getting a lot better. I want to say the Uranus and Gemini energy. Sometimes my thoughts they zoom in, pass fast, and this, that, and the other. But it's getting a little easier. I have a lot of Gemini energy, so it's wild in my mental house. Let me see. Presence. Anything else I wanted to mention? Oh, the living, the dead, and the unborn. Okay, there we go. So let me see. Vertical scene. No, there we go. So y'all on TikTok can see that. Okay. So before I move forward, I want to say this because it ties into the timing literacy issue. Oh, and also, so timing literacy, we have tools like the literal one, timing literacy. These are taught in mastering the transits and celestial timing. Notice a lot of these are the astrology classes, and they do kind of assume that you've done mastering the cosmos, because by the time someone's moved down here they've already taken like mastering the cosmos, embracing the elements, the creative way, and all that kind of stuff. That being said, you can take them out of order because I taught them not necessarily in that same order. But anyways, this one, knowing your non-material senses, so you have like 12 other senses that are not based on the material, so sight, taste, sound, and hearing, all that kind of stuff. I said sound, but that's your material senses. Your non-material ones are like self, desire, thought, feeling, perception, presence, magnitude, belief, knowing, vision, oneness, things like that. I think I named all of them. Will, there we go. Yeah, your sense of will, right? So do you know when you're being compelled to say something, when it's like pushing out of you and you're like trying to hold it back, or when you feel compelled to cry when you can't stop it, the feeling is just happening. Or presence, when you turn around because you know someone's behind you but nobody's there. That's a sense that that's your sense of presence. Presence was the sense you were using to like diagnose that. Mag perception, being able to weigh two things at once in your mind is a perception. You're using and shifting perception. So empathy, that's why it's in Libra. Things like that. It's important for you to be aware of these other senses, because now you can then practice utilizing them and individuating them. When you feel like somebody is way bigger than you, then your sense of magnitude, you were sent like magnitude is a sense that you were using at that moment. Why is it that when you compare yourself to them, do you feel this sense of magnitude? You feel like the inversion, like something is bigger and you are smaller. That sort of a thing. The forest for the trees, your ability to like to like sense that in yourself. Even on an internal level, not even when you meet somebody and it's like that. Sometimes you are just you can sense that when you were in the middle of a forest, you feel tiny and lost, and everything feels like it's crouching in on you all of a sudden. And that's just because your aura is tiny. When people feel that, it's because your aura is going like, ah, and you're like, the only thing I can sense is just what's next to me. And so now the whole forest feels heavy on top of you. You just have to expand your aura. It is your whole home, you know, and you expand your senses out. But that's you got to get a hold of your parasympathetic nervous system to do that. And that's what animals do essentially, you know, is they calm their parasympathetic nervous system to be able to like sense what's going on around them. Because you can hear stuff that's far away. If you feel like this is your home, or you feel like this is your usual comfortable space, your senses go out farther and farther and farther. But the more like you feel like your only safe space is like the skin that you're in, the more you can only sense what's right around you. And so that's the difference between survival mode and like thriving, or you know, we call it thriving, but like the ability to feel secure, right? Is how far or small can you push out your aura and stuff like that. And so your aura is just how you're using your senses. And when you use them, naturally, you use them. So therefore your aura is strong by nature, by the nature of your being, not because you will them to be big, but you know what I mean? But because you use them all the time. So your capacity and all of that grows. So that's important. Obviously, planetary intelligence is the huge aspect here, especially when we talk about timing. Um, because that's how energy, acknowledge it, can you recognize the archetypes, flows through me. So when Mars is trying to get you to move, Mars is saying you need to move. How does Mars move through you and you feel compelled to do? Well, you can set that. That's the part where you set the tone. You say with joy. You have to recognize the kind of like you just have to recognize what emotion is at the kernel of this thing. True fulfillment. Fulfillment has to be in the kernel for it to be fulfilling, right? Actually, oh, it's all coming together about the manifestation thing. So in order to manifest a thing, okay, let me put it this way. I'm going to write on a note card here. You need to know what the essence or the seed of that thing is, including its location, everything. In order for you to manifest. So if I'm trying to manifest this seed into this box, oh shit. Okay, there you go. If I'm trying to manifest, right? And just imagine there's a seed. You can see it. There's a fucking A. That is okay. Come on, come on. Make it a little bit. This is so ugly. Anyways, you guys can kind of see. There's a red box down there. And there's no seed inside. There's some quotations that's supposed to be empty. There's a seed in the other box. Okay, and I want to move this seed into this box. So in science says that you have to be able to encode the genetic information of the seed, but also in the with the locational tag of this red box. So in other words, I just have to know the way to move this. Let me move this. There we go. The way to move this seed into this box is to be able to manifest, to really meditate on this seed with the information of this box attached to it. So essentially, I have to know, what does this seed and this box feel like? What does this seed in this box feel like? Well, the only, this is why I'm telling you all I'm brilliant, okay? Just follow me on this. The only emotion that you can truly identify that will take you there is joy, because joy is fulfillment. So, what does this feel like, getting the seed in that box? It feels like fulfillment, like you have accomplished the goal. That's joy. So when you meditate or you set your actions, or what you do is based upon your joy, you are always based in the most fulfilling outcome. You are always in the flow. You're in flow. Whatever you want, if you manifest with the emotion of joy, I seek joy. Joy is what gets me moving. Joy is what gets me going. Why? Because joy is fulfillment of whatever my goals are. So when you have a goal in mind, and if your goal, let me say this, because there's a actually let me just say this, because it's going to come up again with the FAQs. I think one of them said this: if you hate your job, okay, and you want to do something totally different, then you just have to start moving with joy, and you have to do that with confidence. And that's the scary part, is like, what does having confidence moving with joy means? It means, do you know what your purpose is, and are you 100% willing to go into it regardless? Like, you're okay walking away and just cutting down everything. If you're not okay with that, are you honest about that? Some people are like, I'm perfectly fine just walking away off of a cliff and, just aimlessly wandering out into the 7 oceans and the 7 seas for 5 years and 6 days. If that's what I have to do to quit this thing, I'm willing to do that. And they're willing to do that. Okay. Some people are like, no, I like a far more smoother transition. Okay. The second person, who wants a far more smoother transition, is honest. What does that feel like then? It feels like joy. You see how the answer is still the same? It feels like joy for them. So if this person who wants it to be really smooth, and they follow their joy, their joy is going to lead them down a smooth transition, not something haphazard where they jump off the cliff, they quit, and they go onto the seas for 5 days. That's Joe. Joe likes that, okay? Brenda doesn't. Joe is like, he wants to be a pirate. He watched Captain the fucking Johnny Depp one. What is that called? The Caribbean shit. You know what I'm saying? He watched that as a kid, growing up over and over and over, and this is all he wants to do. And he wants to do that on the Isles of New Zealand or something, okay? And he's going to backpack, and he's going to do that for 5 years. This is reminding me of that Love is Blind season with that one guy who was like really into soccer, but then also was like, anyways. The point is that Joe can go and do that. That brings him joy. That does not bring Brenda joy. What brings Brenda joy is a safer route. So her route and what she does is going to look totally different than Joe. What if I told you that Joe and Brenda are married? And they're married because of convenience, right? They met at the office, and they secretly hated everybody in the office. And so the thing that binded them together was hating everybody in the office. And so their paths look totally different. How is that going to look like in their personal lives? That's going to look like hell. Because one person is it can't figure out why this person doesn't want to just throw everything off to the wind and go sail the 7 seas. And the other person can't figure out why this person's crazy. And that's going to drive them both crazy. So do you see what that looks like in people's personal lives, and how two people who are moving in two separate directions where their joy is taking them elsewhere, it looks like hell at the beginning. And what if I told you that Joe and Brenda were absolute hated enemies? So Joe choosing to burn everything down to the ground makes Brenda feel so fucking great, because the reason why she wanted to quit that job was because she hated that guy. And this guy crashing the fuck out just made everybody realize that she was just telling the truth. And now everybody's up her ass. And this guy just offered her a promotion, and that made her an asset to somebody else. And so somebody else is trying to poach her now. Do you see how two people following their joy, Two people following their joy. They hate each other. And if I told you that Joe feels absolutely delighted because he just dropped a bomb so huge on that company that's going to destroy everything, and he can't stand that Brenda chick, and he's glad that she's stuck in the shackles of capitalism, unable to ever live true and free like the mighty pirate, whoever the fuck Joe is, right? You see how they're both gassing each other up in the directions of their choosing. They're both playing in a show that looks like hell at the beginning. But if both of them just follow their joy, they will find their own bliss. And what looks like hell to Brenda might look like heaven to Joe. And what looks like heaven to Joe looks like hell to Brenda. Get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes that's what I mean when I say people, sometimes you guys are all you're just incompatible with the people that you're around. When you're incompatible with the people that you're around, you start believing in each other's version of heaven and hell, and then torture yourselves over it and stuff like that. But anyways, all that to say, it's joy. Joy is the seed that the one emotion that you can attach to any particular outcome without knowing the outcome. You don't need to know the outcome. You just need to know whether you're moving with joy or not, what actually brings you joy. And that includes if you're learning something new, for instance, like you're learning a new habit, right? What brings you joy? The end goal expectation or the activity that you're doing? If the end goal expectation, I'll tell you all for me, okay? I've been learning languages for forever, honestly. I am the worst and best language learner that you'll ever meet. Best because, like, I'm always, like, somehow decoding languages that I can't even speak. And worse because I refuse to learn any language to fluency up until recently. And that's just because I haven't had the, like, I haven't had the right things come together. But you know what came together for me that made it all possible is I just started actually doing activities that I liked. I always kept trying to learn the language to meet a goal. Like, okay, I'll study this and I'll use this to help me get to this particular place. And then from there, I'll do X, Y, and Z, right? Because, proficiency tests and stuff like that. There's a lot of ways to measure your proficiency in a language and stuff like that. So I always used to think that I would just do and go the proficiency route. And then it always fall apart because geez, I would rather do this. This seems fun, but I can't do that without doing this. So I'll do these things and I'd always go proficiency. I'd do something I enjoy, get excited about it, and then go, and now I can do the proficiency route because I'm excited about language learning. And then it would kill it over and over again. I just kept going until I just decided to do the activities I like. That's it. And the activities are what bring me back to it. So, for instance, I love doing kanji brush strokes on flashcards. Oh man, with paint pens. Hey, anybody who's language learning, you know what I'm saying? This one isn't a paint pen, but you know it's a brush. It's a brush pen to some degree. But I love the acrylic paint pens on flashcards. Wait, do I have some over here? I could show you. Not me. Not me being like, I can show you guys. I can show you guys my flashcards. You guys want to see my flashcards? I don't even have them over here. That's a shame. Oh, man. Oh, man. What happened to flashcards? Now I'm upset. They're so cute. They're so cute. Anyways, I do them with like little brush pens and stuff like that. And it's so much fun. I love it. I love it. Not only does I can kind of, get away with, oh, here they are. I was showing you guys last time. They were under the mic. Look at that. See, listen, look. I just love it. I love it. It's so great. When I do pen, man, I get so hung up on my ugly fucking handwriting with the kanji, all that kind of stuff. But this is so much fun. I love doing it. And I love doodling all over the fucking cards, whatever the fuck comes to mind. Just seems fun. Sometimes I write like little dirty sentences. You know what I mean? Because something reminded me of something. And then, sometimes I draw things and it's like, Jesus Christ, who's doing this? You're so crazy. You're so weird. But it helps and it works. It works. You get what I mean? It's a nuclear family. Joe will leave Brenda and the kids for the seas in his midlife crisis. Yeah, that was going to happen. Yeah, I had to make them mortal enemies too. I had to balance out that karma. I was like, I can't create this. I got to balance it out and cancel it out. That's a good way of canceling out energy is if you say one thing, also include the counter side of it, and it helps you cancel out any energy that you do. Because sometimes I weave and I say terrible things, but that energy, it exists, so I have to kind of neutralize it. Anyways, But yeah, do the activity that you enjoy. I love the brush strokes. I love the art of it. You know what I'm saying? And I have a lot of fun. So that brings me back to the activity, which is a habit. And the activity over a habit, I will passively learn these things because, like, obviously I'm doing flashcards in Japanese. Like, that's the focus of it, right? So passively I am building the vocabulary, but the activity, it's the brush strokes and paint pens. Like, I get to use my paint pens and do art and just sit here and, like, and that's what's fun for me. That's the fun thing. That's the thing that draws me to it. That's what my joy is, because it's fulfillment. I can almost see, you sometimes you'll get to it and you'll see, it's like when you first start to create something, you can see its end product in front of you for a splash second. And this happens to me all the time when I introduce something new to my kids, like especially like a tool or something like this, and I hand them the tool. It's almost like I can feel the energy of their older selves, where we're looking back on where the tool, where when I handed them the tool. And so it's like there's fulfillment in it, right? I'm going to see this tool level up in them somehow, and it's like, oh, great. That's what I know. That's what I know. Yeah, they got it. Because that's like, it's a sign that they understand. You're recognizing them using it properly. So anytime you feel, if you're teachers in the audience, you all will know exactly what I mean. When you know that somebody's got it, and you're just like, yeah, yeah, like, I know, like, it's so sometimes you can even get a vision of it, but like, especially if you make an artifact or an artifice of some sort, you can kind of, it's the energy holds the origin of that moment, and it also holds every other moment that it exists in time. So including when you're looking back, every time you look back at the origin, you will feel that moment that you made it, is when you're thinking about the origin of a thing, which is why it's always really good to, that like, even that man, that's how you really know something that stays with you, is when you pick it up and you can feel every time that you've looked back on it. That's a feeling too. It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, do the activities. It's the activity. Mars wants, when you say I will be led by my joy, then Mars only activates based on joy. And if you do not feel joy, what is the only other activity that Mars can do that still that allows you to be in a rest state? To actually rest. Resting means do nothing. That is an action. Doing nothing is a choice. It's an action. It's the action to be still. Now, what kind of stillness you have is really dependent upon whatever you want to do. And so that's like why I always say joy. Learn how to train yourself to move from a sense of joy, because the joy is the fulfillment that you are picking up on that is latent. Yeah, it's like it's a quantum thing. Um it's really simple. That's why I always laugh when the scientists are always trying to figure out weird shit. I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, it's, yeah, sure, it's really smart stuff, but only because they're overcomplicating it. It's like at that point, only somebody really smart could get out of all of the overcomplications that you've created in order to see what it is. But it's pretty simple. All the best stuff in life is, right? All right, so let me, oh, okay. Let me see, did I hit off any of these things? Clear chat about retrograde and the fits, hands-off approach. Okay, so I kind of talked about this, the hands-off approach to to-do list, routines, and schedules. Okay, I told you all I'd weave it all in. Let's see if I did. Yeah, so we kind of talked about that, right? Mars, just lead with joy. That's a very hands-off approach. So the way that shows up in my life, so to give you all a good example, is like when I wake up, let me see. I have uh my journal here, luckily. So hopefully this will help. This will help me know what I did. Okay, so let's see. Yesterday was Wednesday, so I woke up. I had a note card with me, and on my note card, I just jotted down what we were gonna do for school. Listen, I'll even tell you like this. Even my kids' school schedule, I keep track of everything. Using notes and stuff like that, and documenting stuff, and so it's really easy, especially when I do hand ones and stuff. But I'm telling you, even their school stuff. We're let me put it this way. Right now is a really good time to just do the drills, do the stuff that you need to, the stuff that like, if you're waiting for something, stop waiting and just do the little baby steps. Do the baby steps to the project. Okay, and the way that I kind of phrasing that is like for my kids in school, my oldest, He's doing Hunger Games and Lord of the Flies right now, so he's reading both those books, and then we're gonna watch the movie, and then we'll do critical analysis between the different types of media and how it was interpreted. Right in that yesterday. So yesterday, my to-do list. We woke up. And I don't think my husband was feeling too well, so it was just going to be him Hunger Games, and then school time to work on his science notes, because he's doing, they do science lab, but I have him working in a textbook where he's just getting acquainted with the textbook by learning how to skim, take all of the bolded definitions, list them out. Simple stuff, right? And then the other one, he was doing like the Phantom Toll Booth, and then he's doing a write up for it and some other. What else was he doing? He was and then a map quest and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I figured all of that out in the morning of. Okay, like we have a schedule in general, but for some reason, like the schedule does not work. And what I mean by that is like we normally do these days, these subjects. We like to keep stuff pretty simple, pretty like moving forward. And for some reason, okay, for some reason, if we try to navigate in any shape or form on a schedule, it just does not stick. And so instead, we just leave the subjects open and we're doing an overall project and we're working on isolated things within. Okay. Now, when we do that, everything works perfectly. Somebody could be sick and the whole day goes smooth. And it's almost as if that person not being there that day was better than them being there simply because everything was organized, reorganized for them not being there. And it was really, everything was very timely, right on time. So I'm telling you, I've been very hands off. I am not a just, go with the flow. Everybody will tell you I got a calendars upon calendars. So when I'm telling you that I've gone hands off with whatever the fuck is happening and I'm just observing how everything falls into flow, let me see. The end of this note card, I put 30 minutes read, 30 minutes listen, and Spanish flashcards. These are just things I was going to do that day that I wanted to do. I did read for 30 minutes. I think I did listen to something for 30 minutes, and I did do Spanish flashcards too. I just went through a few of them. I didn't go through all of them, but just most of them. And let me see. I had it here yesterday. I wrote down, and just to give you the gist of how it goes. Let me see, that was Tuesday. Yeah, I wrote down some stuff about what I was reading. My to-do list was based off of exactly what I told you earlier, and then I journaled a little bit and called it a fucking day. And when I tell you the stuff that I was led to do over the course of that day, it all ran smoothly. I'm just having the hardest time explaining this because it's like the most it's a very organized and it's all in like a symphony. It's like trying to explain a symphony in words. You get what I mean? Like that's a really ridiculous. Oh man, I'm seeing this. It's like the Mickey Mouse Fantasia scene. I can't explain that to you in words. You have to see it. You have to see it. So I'm really, 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 I'm going to stress this. Presence. Bring yourself to the now. Return to the now every time you are aware that one, anything is amiss, and two, that you were just simply thinking of anything in the past or anything in the future. Past, future. So if you were thinking of anything in the past or anything in the future, return to the now immediately. Like it just you don't need to do it like you're freaked out. I'm just saying return to the now immediately, as in, all right, like time's up. Like once you're in the past, once you're in the future, time's up, return to the now. Like wrap up the conversation. Is there anything of use that you got from being out in the future, out in the past? Okay, jot it down and return now. And returning means, how does your body feel? What does it feel like to be in your body? What does it feel like to be in the room that you were in? What does it feel like to be under the lighting that you were in? What does it feel like to be in your legitimate like texture, the feeling of stuff? You have to return to the now. Any conversations that you're having with people, are you having them in the now, or are you guys both up in mental spaces having conversations about past and future and about like ubiquitous things that you kind of are having to assume and make up? Because I'm telling you, all of that is some strange liminal space right now. Return to the now, return to the now, return to the now. That is where you're going to have a lot of fucking experiences that you can actually materialize. And there's a lot of energy to materialize and to materialize with. So you know how everybody wants a redistribution of wealth, redistribution. The energy has been redistributed, but is everyone actually taking the energy to step into who they are so that they can show up for the role that they're meant to be in? Or is everybody very much like, some of the experiences that y'all are having, right? Like how, timing literacy. What do I do and what don't I do, right? So the more that you return to the now, the easier it not only becomes for you, but also the people around you to return to now. And by that, I just mean like return to the now and ask yourself what brings you joy. What, like check in, do all of that, and just get in your alignment. That's how you get into alignment, is by coming to the now. There's only some things you can do in the now. If you're like, oh man, here's a here's a wild one. I wish I was on a beach right now. Right? You can't do that if you're not in anywhere near the beach. If you can get in your car and drive to the beach, then get in your car and go drive to the beach. There you go. You know what I mean? Go ahead. If you can't, then return to the now. Return to the now. Just know that the beach is calling you. So therefore you are drawn towards it. That's a great message, right? Instead of screaming, I want to go to the beach right now, I want you to get out your journal and write down, the beach is calling me. Which means I must be headed towards it, period. Then return to the now. Return to the now. Come back to the now. Just know that the beach is in your future. Let that be a positive thing. You don't need to think about it at all. You just need to return to the now. When you do that and you get into the habit of that, your timing literacy, all your timing issues will cease to exist, because you're no longer trying to control what's outside of time, and instead you are focusing on what is in your timing to control, what is in your timing to do. And sometimes your thing to do is to rest. When you look around you and you have absolutely nothing going on, I don't know, strip down, get naked, be weird in your like space. You know what I mean? You're all alone, got nothing else going on. Go be freaky or something. I don't know. Like learn learn how to like be in your own body and have fun. Go like host a one man show. It doesn't need to look like, and I'm sorry for the reference, y'all. It's just it's on the top of my mind because y'all know I was watching all those Emerald Fennell movies. I needed to know something. But anyways, it doesn't need to be like that weird guy in Saltburn. Who played him? I don't know. He always plays weird characters. But anyways, it doesn't have to be weird. You don't have to be like strange and odd and like an inhuman person to be able to get naked and run freely throughout your entire house or something like that because you're bored. You know what I mean? You can dance naked because you're bored. Just like, I'm so serious. Like, if you're bored, next time you're bored, go dance naked. There you go. That's an idea. That's something to do. Go do it. And if you freak yourself out, then stand still long enough until you can stop being freaked out about your own nakedness. There you go. You stop being like break the constraints that you have on yourself in some way, shape, or form. That's what you can spend time doing. And I mean that so seriously. There are so many tiny constraints that you may have on yourself that you don't even know exist because you are resisting the boredom. And boredom is the perfect time to be mischievous. Go in there and break any locks that have been placed on you. You know what I mean? Ask yourself, what's something, and I mean, be reasonable. If your idea of breaking free is streaking in public places, that's not really reasonable. You're imposing your weirdness onto other people. Please only impose it onto yourself. You know what I mean? There you go. Then like everything else is really just up to whatever you're willing to like rationalize. You know what I mean? Just to be naked, I don't know, on your patio under the moonlight or something, if you have the privacy. The thing is just go live, go do things that you don't normally do. And there's so many whimsical things that you can do. Like go outside and, I don't know, bark like a dog and see if anybody noticed it was you. Children do things like this all the time for fun, and it breaks up monotony. And it also teaches you like free will, right? Because you did something that that there is a unspoken rule you're not supposed to do, so it gives you a little bit of that free will back. Do things like that when you're bored, when you like literally just have nothing to do. It teaches you an awful lot about what constrains you. If you go to the park and you're unwilling to laugh really loud by yourself just to, if a few heads turn to look at you and you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? This tells you an awful lot about the constraints you put on yourself. So what? You bark laughed out loud. Some people turned around and they saw someone beautiful being beautiful. and wondered what was so funny. That's a little miracle, right? Somebody turned around and was like, oh, I'm so glad that startled me out of my terrible thoughts. I don't know. I'm trying to turn it into a nice situation, but you get the point. All right. So I see. So returning to the now opens you up to receive and shift you into a state of joy and curiosity, allowing your interpretation and perspective to change and healthily explore. Yes, returning to the now, it does do that. I'll say this: returning to the now, it opens you up to receive that shift, but you must choose it, right? So like there are moments, and I'm going to tell you, I've been through all of them where you feel like choosing joy feels like lying to yourself completely because you're in a totally terrible mood. But also when you sit and you face reality, the reality that you're in doesn't line up with the terrible mood. And so it feels like you're trying to bargain yourself out of feeling out of being pre-warned about something, right? That can happen where you're like, is this my a premonition? Is something bad going to happen? Well, no, something unknown is going to happen and you feel negative about it. You don't have to feel negative about it. And maybe something does who knows, right? Would you the thing is if you really don't know, you can think a negative thing and you can think a positive thing, and it neutralizes the energy for you. I said that earlier, right? So, because you don't know, it could be a negative thing, it could be a positive thing. So there's no point in thinking about it. So it neutralizes it. So therefore, that allows you to then go, well, I'm going to choose to navigate with joy because whatever I just felt was very unpleasant, and since I felt it right now, I don't have to feel it again. Because if anything starts to feel slightly unpleasant, you can then re-navigate in a totally different direction. You can go, I came and sat down to have like a coffee here, and now people are arguing in the back. I think I'm just gonna go. Like, nope, I'm gonna go. And if you go to the bookstore and like somebody starts like yelling at their kid at the bookstore, maybe you should go home, right? I'm gonna go home and like really just kind of get calm because I'm around other. It's not necessarily you, is it? You happen to be what you happen to be witness to an energy that is in multiple locations that you're in. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's you. It just means that you're aware of an energy that's happening on a collective level. It's not just in one place, it's in multiple places. Now, if you go home and you start punching holes in walls and mirrors all of a sudden randomly, and you're like, I've lost my mind, obviously something's going on. But if you go home and that's not what's going on, now you go home and you take a shower and you're like, I don't know, it was wild outside. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you said I was out. I went one place. It was not a pleasurable thing, so I got up and I went to a different place that normally brings me joy. You guys can tell. I spend a lot of time. I don't even spend time in coffee shops. I just use them all the time. Um but the bookstore. Me as an example, the bookstore. Mm. But you can, if you go to the bookstore and then even that place is a little wild, you just choose to go home and be in your own energy because your own energy is something you can control, but others isn't. So maybe it's just not a day to be outside. There are plenty, like, we don't need to, like, my thing here is like, we all are very much aware that there are just bad days. Bad days where car accidents are more likely to happen. Why? Because more people are likely to be triggered by something depending on the social conditioning. So Mondays tend to be very busy days at the ER for people trying to avoid work and all sorts of other issues, right? Sometimes people wait until the beginning of the week. So a lot of people are in pain and or grumpily returning to work on the road. That's just in general the energy is not that great. You know what I mean? For some reason Sundays after church have been absolutely fucking horrific. If you're in certain areas, oh my god, it's like I thought people were going to be cleansed. What is happening? Why are they all coming out slimy? Oy vey. Times are rough. But what was the point that I'm making? Now I'm making fun of those poor, religious folk. But, anyways, the thing is like you have to be open. You have to be open to joy. Simply because if you're navigating based off of that, right? Then you're not placing You're not placing any type of labels on the situations or on yourself or on other people. You're just asking your body yes or no. And if your body says no, then you go. If your body says yes, then do your best. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. And I don't need to know why it said no. I don't need to know. I don't need to know what I avoided. I don't need to sit here and think that I could have had fun. I could have had all of these things if only I just stayed somewhere where I didn't feel good, right? Um, and growth, right? Sometimes when you're growing, well, you have to be secure to grow. Growing while feeling insecure leads you to being in spaces where people will feed off of your insecurity. They'll keep you coming back in a loop. You know what I mean? It's where all of a sudden the person who is helping starts telling you, "You'll be nothing without me. You can't leave." Right? It's weird. It's strange, but those are called cults, and they happens to people who are in survival mode. They end up in cults simply because they're looking for aid in some way, shape, or form. Um, and even if their body says, no, I don't want to be here, they'll think, oh, well, I have to overcome this. They're told that you have to be uncomfortable. You have to feel like you have to be put through all of this. You technically don't. You need to understand why you feel uncomfortable. What belief system is being triggered? Sit with that. Do you still want to believe that, or is there anything that counteracts that belief system that you need to investigate? And then once you do that and you grow more belief systems and you believe more than one thing, now you can choose. And this is where it gets sticky. Sometimes choosing means living a totally different life than the one that you have been living, and so there's a hesitation there. Cults will say, "Oh, leave that choice up to me," so that you don't feel the hesitation and just do what I say. And that's crazy. That's crazy, right? The autonomy here is that's when you open yourself up to joy. Well, you can choose the new thing that you've never done because it could either be terrible or great, so there's no point in trying to figure out which infinite possibility it is. Um, you know, or you can stick with what you know. Like it's you go with joy. I'll just go with what I don't know and follow joy through it. Meaning, if I pick something I don't know, let's say you take up a class and you go to the class. So, in the class, how are you going to navigate? With joy about it and around it, everything with it. So if you go to the class and you feel absolutely harassed all the time and strange, this doesn't mean that you tell yourself just fine, just be happy. No, you aren't feeling joy. You like what is your purpose? Your joy is in the fulfillment of your purpose. If your purpose is to learn something and you never learn anything because everybody just stands around and talks, then you're not going to feel joy, right? You might like everybody because everybody's really friendly, but there's no joy here because you're not learning. Boo! Boo! So, therefore, joy, you see, joy, it's a complex thing. It looks very specific to your purpose, not to the outcome. And when you follow joy, which is your purpose leads you to an outcome because you are following it with intent. It's really, when I say it like that, it sounds so simple. It is. Oh, last thing I'm going to mention, the living, the dead, and the unborn. So, okay, when you all are dissociated. So when you're present and you're in the now. Okay, I'm going to type this out. I know nobody in the other ones can see me, but no. Okay, there we go. For those of you on TikTok. So when you're present, you're in the now. Okay. When you are not present, you are either in the land of the living, the land of the dead, or the land of the unborn. Okay. So the land of the living, oh man. Uh okay. So the land of the living, this is like energy that's coming. So, oh man, okay, here we go. The land of the living is like the energy that comes off of living beings. Okay. So when you're present, you're interacting with living energy. Okay. So whatever is around you. So let's say you're in a room with one other person, and you look at that other person. You are interacting with living energy, right? It is accessible to you right then and there. You are feeling it. The presence is there. They could be like, I'm not here. I'm not here. And you're never going to believe them because they are literally right there. I'm invisible. You can't see me. Like, I'm sorry, but I can sense you with all of my senses. You're right here, right? That's the land of the living. The land of the dead, this is dead space, can be multiple things, but the land of the dead is where ideas exist. This is where infinite possibility is, okay? No, not really. Fuck, it's so hard. Okay. The land of the dead is where, jeez, this is so, oh man. These are, I'm trying to describe conscious states using English. Let me start with the most dead place. Okay. The land of the dead is oftentimes where humans go with their ideas. So these are ideas that you've already thought. Okay? These are your ideas. If you've thought it, it is in the dead zone. Okay? Because oh fuck, that's not even really it. It depends. Oh no. Okay. Oh man, this is so hard to intuit. I'm gonna try doing this multiple times. Maybe I'll have a good way of explaining it next class. I just gotta think about it a little bit longer. But unborn energy is like where your ideas that are sitting with you that you're working on. Okay, so if let's say you're a writer and you're currently writing a book, your book exists in the land of the unborn. So these are ideas that are currently in the process of being birthed. Okay. The land of the dead is like energy that's not in the being birthed process. It just is. It's stagnant in some way, shape, or form because it's not in the land of the living either. So it's not being circulated. There's no circulation in it. It's just there. So sometimes concepts can be like this. It really depends. There's a lot. I'll come with some better examples next week. And then the land of the living, this is where again, this is circulation energy, stuff that is alive. It's buzzing as we speak. It's moving with some type of intent and purpose. um when people are in their heads, okay, they oftentimes are somewhere between the land of the dead and the land of the unborn. They're often, this is where infinite possibilities are. The land of the dead is like the past, and the future is like the land of the unborn, okay? And so when people are like in the past and old memories, these are things that are no longer have circulation in them. They cannot move forward. So when you get it when someone's in their mind, if you're in the past, you are in the land of the dead. And so you have to understand that like sometimes that's really unpleasant. Like you know what I mean? Like think about all of the iconography of the underworld. It's like the river of Styx is there, all the souls, you know? Oh, everybody's sad, regrets live there. Like everything that has been is there. You get what I'm saying? And so this is like it can be unpleasant. And where you populate in the land of the dead is very much based off of the energetic resonance that you're at any given time. And do you want to figure all that out, or do you want to return to the now when you notice that you're feeling really unpleasant? To return to the now, because if you are feeling unpleasant because something is physically wrong with you, you will return in your body and you'll notice there's tension in your head, and that, oh my goodness, you need an aspirin. Oh my goodness, there's something physically going on. If you return to the now and all of a sudden you just feel weird, but nothing else is going on, and you're looking around, you look on the news, you talk to a few people in your vicinity and everything is calm, everybody is calm, then that means that like there is a presence perhaps around you, or an energy around you that is unprocessed in some way. And it could be, if it could be from the land of the dead, it could also be from the land of the unborn. It depends, right? If you're like haunted by memories or an argument with someone, then you know that what dead thing is following you around. If you are haunted by like something you don't know and you feel like anything might come around the corner, then this is the land of the unborn, and you are legitimately just running away from energy that you have no idea what it is. And sometimes running away from something that and you don't know what it is, it's just like on those movies and TV shows where something like something disastrous happens as someone's running away from something, and it's funny to the audience, it's funny for us to laugh at someone's mishap, but like it's still a mishap and you can experience those. So that's why I'm always like, it's better not to like, you know, run like a madman. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, that's all I'm going to say for now. I'm going to return to this later. Let me do return to this next class with some more examples and stuff like that. Because I'm introducing it now because I'm going to be totally honest. I like on an astrological level, things are, I should say, on a cosmic level, I'm experiencing so much of a shift and like things are just shifting and changing and clicking in and out of place all the time. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, watching it happen. And I'll just say this, I've never been let down. So I'll let that speak for itself. I don't know. I just relay the messages. Okay, so let's go back to our document, and I'm going to look at the, okay. Let me go. Oh my god, how far down was I? There we go. Okay, hospitals get really busy during full moons. Oh, you said I got this. Yeah, I know. It's a wild ride. I enjoyed them. I like these things. Let's see. Okay, this might get difficult for anybody on Patreon. If you leave stuff in the chat, I will most likely not see it right away. If you want to hop on the Zoom. So only because I'm about to hit record on the student questionnaire, and once I'm on that page, I'll be going between that and the PDF. So I'll probably forget to check into the chat. Oh my god. I am so disgusted. Why did Patreon do this? I forget that Patreon just like turns off my camera and mic sometimes. I don't even know what the last thing you guys heard on Patreon was. Any what was the last thing you heard? Oh my god. And I was just thinking, goodness gracious, I didn't record the Zoom meeting. Then I was like, that's okay. I'm live on Patreon. What could go wrong? And then I found out what could go wrong. I can't stand it. You guys are good. Never mind. I'm just gonna have the chat like this. Oh man. Okay, let me have. Stop it. That's not what I'm trying to do. Windows. Okay, I'm gonna have me over here. Like, stop it, Windows. Okay, I'm gonna have me over here like this. Stop it, Windows. Like this. And then I'm gonna have this chat right here so I can see you guys. And then I'll have this here and this. Okay. Woo! And then I have the Zoom chat open. Yeah, turned off both. Hopped on TikTok quick. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, y'all. That's so crazy. I can't, Patreon. I'm trying not to be so mean about it, but they're making it difficult. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit record on our FAQ. We're going to move into that now and get us going. I'll read to you guys. Oh, we forgot the animals. I said we, like you guys are over here forgetting stuff. I feel like an old person. You guys forgot the animals. I can't believe it. You guys, you should have told me. You should have reminded me. All right, this one. Thank you. Alrighty then, we are recording. Hello everybody, welcome back. Okay. I am... Oh wait, I don't think this one has a question. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle us some cards really quick and read out the question next. Now, you all know I tend to shuffle the cards before I read the question. Oh, elephant. Anything else? Bottom. Wolf. Guardian. Okay. Ooh, this is nice. So, elephant, resolve. You will overcome any obstacles. Wolf, guardian. You are safe and protected at all times. So, we'll keep those two in mind. The elephant charges us out in front, and the wolf is somewhat of a reminder. The wolf is in the shadows to remind us of something. I wonder what. Okay, let me move these things right here. There we go. All right. Let's read the question of the day, and then we're going to go through and do the diagnostic. All right, Pax, thanks for letting me know that it wasn't cut out for too long. I'm so glad. I was going to get so upset. Okay. Ooh, also somebody said mother wounds came up over the week. I bet, especially with Cancer. The sun going into Cancer. It's June 25th, 2026 for anybody watching in the future. And the name of this replay will be Elephant and Wolf. Elephant and Wolf will be in the title somehow, some way. You'll see it and I'll upload it by the end of the week. Okay. So the question at the start is I am being called, but I have no idea where I'm going. I know I am strong and my fears are becoming less every day. I'm looking for my powers. Okay, that's not quite a question. However, the the answer to that one, right? Elephant, resolve. You will overcome any obstacles, and the wolf guardian, you are safe and protected at all times. That's great. Let me see if they put anything else down here. No, they didn't. So overall, if I was going to say that there was a question here, the question might be, how do I navigate not knowing where I'm going? And trying to reclaim and how do I reclaim my own power, right? So reclaiming powers, my fears are becoming less every day. I'm looking for my power. So more on reclaiming power, and also I have no idea where I'm going. So we'll talk a little bit about navigation and reclamation. So just off the top, let me see if there's any, and let's look over here. Oh my God, don't do that. Okay, there we go. Let me see. I'm going to pull up the operational domain. We always start there, right? And try to figure out which role or which domain any of these issues might be in. So navigation, how do I move? How do I move throughout things? And and um and reclaiming power, right? Power. So power has a lot to do. So one action is navigation. How do we move? And power, I would say, is role, probably, because role, power and power dynamics come from how we identify ourselves, and then how we exchange our energy, right? And how we reciprocate and all that kind of stuff. So we'll look at those two domains overall and see what tools are there to help. First, let's look at role. How do I reclamation of power? Well, let me think. Reclamation of power and navigating. Which one goes first? I said roles. Let's go with roles first. So roles. So a role oftentimes has to do with identity, position, responsibility. I have that up here, what it governs. And then our core tools are going to be role calibration, energy exchange, and discernment, right? And so let us scroll down to the signature pattern, and we can talk about what's the word that I'm looking for? What kind of symptoms tend to come up whenever you're having these issues, so that you can not only be a little bit on the lookout for it, but also know how to navigate it, know what tools are what you're being asked to do. So here, when it comes to action and role, we have fixation and avoidance. Okay, fixation and avoidance are the two types of behaviors that you might want to start questioning in your life. So a good way of doing anything proactively is asking questions. I am recording this, right? Yeah, just double checking. Yeah, so the best way to do anything is proactively is just by asking questions, right? So anytime you have no idea where you're going or anything, what are you fixated on? That would be the first question I would ask. What am I fixated on? Because needing to know something is a fixation. And it oftentimes has to do with not knowing what role you play, how to move forward, right? When you know the role that you're playing, what's expected, what to do, everything is listed out for you and stuff like that, you feel secure and how you navigate things. You feel secure and what's yours, what's not yours. You feel secure because you know your place, right? So role calibration, and that oftentimes when you don't know your place in things, fixation happens. So I would like to turn everybody's attention to like modern media. Oh man, period pieces will show you this all the time. When someone's role is up for grabs, man, like the King's Mistress, those new period pieces where they play like pop music and stuff like that, they love themselves a mistress. They're always like, oh, the mistress is changing, right? And so when a new role is available, right, and multiple people are up, I'm thinking Anne Boleyn for some reason. When multiple people are kind of like up for opportunity, and there's the ability to move around, they become fixated on something, and that fixation is on how to get into a position. They're going to question other people. They might try to sabotage people. They're going to plan and scheme. They're doing anything and everything possible to get themselves into a position at the right point in time so that they can arrive, right? I don't know where I'm going, so I'm going to do everything I can in my position to put myself in a position to arrive. And it's like, well, if you don't know where you're going, why are you trying to do all that? So when you drop the fixation, that's the best way to go about it. So in other words, in like any of these period pieces, usually the people who are fixated always come to some like fucked up ends, right? And it doesn't matter whether you like them as a character or not. I think Game of Thrones is the best example of this. Littlefinger, he was always fixated. He was always vying for a role, right? He was never okay with his lot. He always needed something. And who could blame him? He's around a bunch of people who have a lot more than him, right? So he was fixated on that. Sansa is a character that's pretty controversial, at least in my mind, because she was kind of irritating most of the entire show. But she also had a fixation issue. That's what caused a lot of demise. Not that she was also a pawn, right? And so a lot of horrific things happened to her. But a lot of the like demise of her own, like when I talk about demise, I'm talking about personal character, like the things that got the best of her, and the like when the moments where something else got the best of her, not moments where she was victimized. Yeah, we don't victim blame here. So not moments when she's victimized, but moments where like she's something's gotten the best of her. So like when she was younger and the way she would treat her sister, those are different character traits. People like to be like, oh, that's how siblings are. No, that's a character issue. The inability to humanize someone else for whatever reason is a character flaw. like these are flaws, not like we're looking down at a person, but when we're talking about character, someone's inability to is a character flaw. Those are the flaws in the character, right? Not necessarily the person. The person is capable of learning how to do the thing, but until they learn how to do the thing, it is a flaw. So Sansa was somebody too with a lot of character flaws. Funny enough, and so you could see it whenever she's plotting and scheming and stuff like that. It comes from insecurities of things that have happened and her coping mechanisms, things like that. And just about everybody on that show was fixated on some type of role, except for Jon Snow. I think he was the only person who wasn't fixated on. No, he was. He's kind of fixated on being the bastard. You know what I mean? But he was like the least fixated on the external roles that people could play, for the most part. And I use that as an example just to say, like think about it in terms of when someone has a fixation issue, it brings the problems, right? And then we become obsessed with watching them try to win the problem, and it's like they're trying to win at their own cage. Like they've caged themselves in, and now we're watching them try to figure it out. And yeah, it's always somebody who's always thought up some type of insecurity that they get fixated on, or some type of role that they're fixated on, instead of just discovering who they are in the situation. So, avoidance is the next one, right? So, when you're fixated, then maybe this is why I did roll first, but when you're fixated on a certain outcome, then you become avoidant, and simply because any action can lead to your demise. When you are fixated on an outcome, you have the perfect road there and every other failure, right? Your plan, you're the smartest plan that you can come up with probably has some like also options for B and C and this and that, and if this doesn't work out, this, you probably have a web of some sort, right? Now, everything that you didn't account for that can possibly happen is going to be read as failure simply because you didn't account for it. So the moment something strange or new happens, right, you can possibly fail, and you know that you can't tell the future. You know that you cannot control everything, and so that creates in you a level of hesitancy. You want to make sure that you pick the right thing. So now you're going to sit here and you're going to dive in deep to the details to figure out just how you can make this plan impenetrable. Perfect is the word that we like to use, right? So then perfection becomes avoidance. And the perfection is based on a fixation that has nothing to do with what's going on, just everything to do with the identity that you created in order to put yourself in a position and control how you get there, right? So you can see how that the one fixation can create an entire cascade of problems, because now you're in a box and you can't do anything in that box because you have to perfectly navigate outside of the box. Otherwise, you will break yourself and lose everything that you constructed. And you will construct it. You will find all of the things in your external world to make that real for you. So if you like, it's like, if you don't get this promotion, you won't be able to live in the city anymore and you will have to move back to this other town, X, Y, and Z, right? Like, you can construct your life where that is a true statement. You can definitely do that. You can live in so much fear that you put yourself in a box with a position at a company that's really shifty and shady, but it promises the amount of money that you want to be able to prove to yourself that you're making it, because you got to live in a certain place in a certain area to prove to yourself that you are worthy of the space that you're in. And now the shifty place that you wouldn't have picked in your right fucking mind, that you were like, well, it's only for a little bit and I'm just going to get in and get out, that place has become your bread and fucking butter. And now if you don't, and also it has warped your thinking to the point where you can't really function in other environments, because now you were just as toxic as the place. Right? You think everything is terrible. You think even good places are a hoax now because you've been sitting around these toxic people for so long. So now you truly believe and think in your heart of hearts that no matter what, if you do not get this promotion, you will have to go back to this. You get the point that I'm making. Like, someone can literally walk right into that life. And you can tell how that takes quite a bit of walking to get to that particular point. But nonetheless, it still requires you to walk into it. And it's usually based on fixation. So, I was just talking about this earlier. So, if you're watching this in the future, um, if you look for the post with the same date, because both of them are published always on the same date, you'll see the live replay of class on. It'll just say live replay, and it'll have the same title for the most part, but it'll also say current events and stuff. And I was talking at nauseum for the most part about joy. Like, the point of joy, of following joy, is because it is the only energetic resonance that is contained in the success or fulfillment. You cannot manifest anything without being fulfilled. So if you're not fulfilled, then you haven't manifested. So fulfillment is the only breadcrumb that you should ever follow, and fulfillment is found in joy. Joy is easy because joy has fulfillment in it. So if you hone yourself and you learn how to follow joy, you will always, in any room that you're in, think escape rooms, in any situation, environment, or whatever you're in, you will always be able to sniff out joy, which leads you to whatever the purpose that you have, whatever your purpose is. Your purpose, and the joy is fulfillment of that purpose. So if I'm in a room of people and I want to, if my purpose is to make friends, that's really, like, I want you all to stop and think about that statement. My purpose is to make friends. I'm going to say it one more time, as creepy as it is. My purpose is to make friends. Right? That sounds a little creepy. Like, my purpose is to make friends. How? What do you stitch them together? Do you these mannequins or these people? Do I give them a makeover? Do I mold them in my worldview? Yes, that's what people mean when they say I'm going somewhere and my purpose is to make friends. And my purpose is to identify who is and has the ability to be my friend, and to put them on a roster, to put them on a hierarchy and select from there, right? And that inherently is a bit narcissistic, and yes, it can cause problems. And no, it's not always negative. Sometimes the point is to make friends, and the whole point of the thing is a social encounter. But still, you have to ask yourself, if a bunch of people are gathering specifically to make friends, you're likely going to come out of it with people whose purpose there was to shark you, not whatever it is that they introduce themselves as. Get what I'm saying? And also, like, I'm just saying, the purpose to make something that requires another human being to consent to, even if you go open-minded, you're straddling very close to the line. And if you're straddling close to the line, you can guarantee you're going to be surrounded with people who have crossed it. Get what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you have nefarious intentions either. It just means that oftentimes that does come with nefarious intentions. And nefarious meaning someone's just a bit out of balance, right? They think that friends should, and they have a long list of things that people who they label a friend should do for them. And if you don't do those things, they think that they're allowed to torture you. That happens. Get what I mean? So the point is to make sure that your purpose is something that you are in control of. If my purpose to go to a meet, like let's say I'm going to a book club, my purpose is to talk about books with people who also enjoy talking about books. That is legitimately the most basic goal, right? To be in a room with people who enjoy talking about books. The moment you walk in, you have fulfilled your purpose. You no longer need anybody to be anything. You don't need people to be interesting. You don't need to be able to be thoughtful. You don't need people to be smarter than you. You don't need people to be dumber than you. You don't need people to like the same things you like. You don't need any of that stuff because your fulfillment is, and you recognize and you sit in the gratitude that your only goal here is to just be in a space where other people are talking about something, the same thing. You guys are just focused on that thing. Now, you can ask yourself while you're there, where is your joy? Did you accomplish your goal? Yes. Did you sit in that? Did you savor it? Like, don't be so busy being attentive to everyone else that you aren't also attentive to your own like satisfaction, right? Just like enjoy. What does that mean for you? Now you get to explore that. What does enjoying being in a book club mean to you? You know what I mean? Do you want to be yourself? Do you want to be weird? Do you want to be, I don't know, like try on a new personality or something? I mean, like do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like it's really not that deep. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So I mean that's kind of like those two things. Yeah, and that helps you reclaim. And you see, I guess that does lead us right into reclamation of power. Right now, you get to be who you want to be. You get to choose. You are now present in a room doing the thing that you wanted to do. So, what brought you here? What's the one thing that was so interesting it keeps rattling on in your brain afterwards? Write it down. That's what brought you there. That's the gift that you exchange for following your joy. But you have to also pick those things up. Reclamation of power isn't something that you're given, it's something that you claim, it's something that you do, it's something that you receive, it's something that you must take into you and integrate somehow. Power is something that you use, not something that you are, if that makes sense. Like, yes, we have power running through us, but I am not power. I am. Power runs through me. Get what I mean? I am. That is a concept. Power runs through me so that I am. So power is something that you use. It is something that you recognize, something that you feel, something that you interact with, all those types of things. So that's then the reclamation power. So who are you and how do you express yourself in the situation that you brought yourself to? Here's your goal, you achieved it. Now how do you use that power of being there in that moment? How do you use your voice? Did someone say something that sparked an idea in you? Did you share your idea or did you just keep it to yourself? Did you if your goal was to speak up more often and to like, practice like presence and stuff like that and just not caring about what other people think about you, did you do that? Did you take the opportunity? Did you force an opportunity or did you just let them arrive? Those are the things that you pay attention to. And if you're like, dang, I spoke up, I like took the opportunities that came to me, I didn't have to force anything. Did you write all that down and sit in the gratitude of that moment? Did you recognize and acknowledge yourself? Like, that's parenting. That's real parenting. Like you have to acknowledge the good stuff. You can't just like, I have fixation issues. I avoid stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Some of you had nagging parents, and so please, kick them out of your head. You don't need to nag yourself. You just need to see the good shit that you're doing and keep on going. Okay, I think that one's it. Oh, in those classes, let me see. That's what fixation. We got role calibration is where I'm trying to get to. Let me see. Okay, there we go. So, role calibration. I got some like really epic music playing in my ear. This is wild. Okay, so when it comes to role calibration, the classes that you can find that in, honestly, mastering the cosmos is important because this gives you your mythology for understanding astrology. You guys got to start reading, and oh man, again, the Aboriginal book. I'm going to mention it by Robert Lauer. It's The Voices of the First Day. Uh, you know, something I want to say. So your ability to navigate on a grid is your ability to know it as, to be familiar with it. Okay, here we go. How comfortable are you navigating your house versus how comfortable are you navigating your city center? Like, are you comfortable walking around naked in your house? Are you comfortable walking around city center naked? Probably not, right? There's a lot of issues that come into play, right? Like, it's a shared space, it's not your private space. Okay. Are you comfortable lounging in your house? Are you comfortable lounging somewhere in the center of the city? Like, go drive to the center of the city. Are you comfortable sitting on a bench and lounging? Lounging. Like, you're just going to grab a book, chill, read for a little bit, maybe rest by a tree in the shade. You know what I mean? Like, are you comfortable lounging? Just, you're not up to anything, you're just having fun. Comfortable lounging. Are you comfortable, let's see. Ooh, are you comfortable having a breakup, like a heated conversation with someone? Let's say you're talking with a friend and you guys are about to start arguing about something. Are you comfortable doing that in your house? Are you comfortable doing that in the center of the city somewhere? You're just outside, under a shaded tree, sitting on a blanket or something. Are you cool having your argument there? You see, like, there's a difference if you're able to say yes or no. Is all based on your level of comfort taking up space in that area, right? Some people are like, I'm not comfortable taking up space in the area to be seen in this way, right? And that's perfectly fine and healthy and normal. It's also healthy and normal to take up space everywhere you go. The thing is, right, is it's based on your level of familiarity. Are you more comfortable at your job walking around and owning the space than in someone else's job? Let's say your friend, spouse, whatever, invites you to their office. Do you feel comfortable walking around that place like you work there, you own the place? Or do you, like, you're just gonna like wait for them to walk you in and take you up to their office or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, what are you really comfortable with? Or anybody who's ever worked retail, are you comfortable going into the back of the store because like your friend works there? Or are you gonna employees only, right? You don't feel there's no familiarity for you, but for them, they can walk right back because they're familiar with it. So when it comes to like role calibration, who are you and what's your role? Do you know all of the possible stories that you have the capacity to act out in life? What I mean is, did you know that you could be somebody's Persephone? You can also be somebody's Hades. Did you know that you could be somebody's Midas? You can also be somebody's Midas's daughter. You can be the daughter that turns to gold. And someone else is Midas in your life. Did you know that you can play these roles? I'm only using the Greek ones because we speak English, and so it's important for you to know the iconography of the native language that we're conversing in, right? So if your first language is English, okay? If your first language is not English and or you also speak other languages, it's important for you to know the mythologies of the languages you are fluent in. Yes, regardless of your ethnicity, your nationality, your racial regardless of that, whatever language you are fluent in, it's important to know the mythological stories of that language and more. This opens up familiarity with the energies of the universe, so to speak. And the energies are the different storylines playing out. Like, everybody's running around like ants. Some people are gods. Some people are like the little humans that the gods fuck with. Some people are demigods, right? And you can kind of see it in life. You can kind of see it. You can see who's being a peon, and it changes all the time too. Don't think that just because you are a peon at a party somewhere where nothing really happened for you, that a god wasn't somewhere wreaking havoc in that party, that they weren't just like going to town in some dramatic circle and everything goes to hell and then somebody has to be punished because Prometheus gave fire to the humans, or so to speak, you know, Brad gave intel to the like fucking people in the HR department, and he should have never been talking to those fucking people to begin with, and now they're gonna have a fucking issue on their hands. You know what I'm saying? Those are the gods in the situation. They're living in a totally different storyline, and you were a peon at the party. Do you want to be a god? Do you want to be in the little storyline with Zeus and Prometheus going on over there and all that weird shit? It sounds scammy to me. It sounds unpleasant to me, right? And then you can literally leave that place and you are walking and you bump into somebody who sweeps you off of your feet. And now you are on an adventure throughout the entire city with someone that you just met simply because they asked you a question and you were like, well, let me just show you. And as you were taking them to show them, they started talking to you about other stuff and you're like, get out of here. No fucking way. And they're like, you think I'm joking. And then they pull out and they show you the proof of who they are. And they're like, no, 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 no. Now you got to come. I have a whole thing tonight. Here, like, no, you come. You're going to be my +1. And you're like, are you serious? And you're like, this is like crazy. I can't believe I met the person of the thing that like I'm obsessed with, because it turns out that this person is one of the co-creators to a thing that you just so happen to enjoy. The co-creators aren't exactly that public facing. The thing is the whole production is more of a thing. And so now you get invited and of course you're going to go. You were somebody's Persephone in that moment. You've just been introduced into the underworld. You were about to undergo an initiation where it unlocked something in you, honestly. And you and that person, you thought it was just a coincidence, and maybe this was your luck turning out that, you got to see something that you really liked, but you didn't know that the person who was inviting you in to see the thing that you really liked, oh my goodness, they're about to change your whole world and teach you a thing or two about power. They're going to inspire you. You're going to undergo a whole change. And did I not mention that before, you were human number 3 at a party? So you see how it really doesn't matter when people are like, I'm the chosen one. Yeah, for like 5 seconds in any given fucking situation. And then you go back to being a normal ant on a hill, just doing your normal shit. Like some of you are taking a shit right now. You know what I mean? You're not doing anything cool or heroic. I'm making flashcards half the time. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, yeah, I say really insane, cool stuff, and people are like, "How'd you know?" It's like you're in my house because I'm a witch, but also I'm aunt number 3, occasionally. You know what I mean? Like we're all in and out of different roles, but those roles are mythical vibrations. They're vibrations because this earth is a living thing, and as a living thing, we're on like a hive, right? We make stuff, we do stuff. We're always moving as a collective, so to speak. And so that means we're also living out storylines that predate us. Okay, we're living out mythological stories about the Aboriginals say you're constantly living out in the land that you live on, the story and the origin of that land. So it's important you know the stories so that you can be familiar with it. So a great way of being familiar, and one way, is to understand cosmic stories from different, from different cultures and stuff like that. But then you also need to understand the culture, yada yada yada. The whole point is that mastering the cosmos is huge in that space. Planetary intelligence, all obviously, and then creative entrepreneurship. So this is a community building thing, which helps you understand your role in energy exchange on a material plane. So while these two are very much cosmic, we're talking about energies. Creative entrepreneurship's grounds a lot of that in practical application, because I want you to think entrepreneur instead of thinking like, business, like brick and mortar stores and all that kind of stuff, or digital things. Think more in terms of I create and I sustain. I sustain my own creation, and I expand my capacity to create more. And I sustain my capacity to create more. I sustain my capacity to create more. And so therefore you are an entrepreneur because you are making things, but you're also sustaining, which implies that you were selling, right? You were exchanging and stuff. Energy exchange and discernment happens here, but that's not necessarily, well, I guess it would be necessary for this person when we talk about reclaiming power. So this is your ability, right? To exchange, right? To negotiate. spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Everything that you do needs reciprocity. Now, that doesn't mean you go around keeping tabs on other people necessarily. Like, I did this, you do this. No, 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 no. Your accounts aren't for other people to live up to. Your accounts are so that you know where your energy is going and whether it is coming back or not. That is the one thing I always want to hit people. And stop it. Like, your accounts are not for you to bicker with other people about what you did. I used to have a friend who did this all the time. Um, and he didn't do it with me. He accused me of doing it all the time. He'd be like, "Oh my God, you're always keeping receipts so that you can bring it up later." And I'm like, "No, that's not why I keep receipts. I keep receipts so that I know whether or not I am wasting my time or not." Like, I'm not going to say the same thing to you twice. And I'm also not going to like if you error that like twice on the same issue, then you didn't take it in the first time. Like, you either lie, like you either were like whatever, they're just sensitive or whatever have you, and that's not on me, but that does tell me what I need to know so that I can alter myself, right? So it's always about that. You're not changing another person, you are altering your exchange with that person. You are altering your exchange with that person. Someone comes to your shop and they steal from you. Are you going to like put a poster with their face on the wall that says, "If you see this person, call the police, that bitch stole my shit"? Or are you going to be like, "I guess you can come in, I gotta use the bathroom, don't steal stuff"? Right? No, like, you alter the way that you navigate that person, right? Not that somebody's like stealing stuff. That was a wild one. And then let me see. So action, right? Move. There's timing literacy here. One clear action method. A lot of these, you're going to see a lot of the astrology courses, because that's how energy moves through you. You reorient yourself. And then you're going to see creative awakening and creative entrepreneurship down here. Um, with these ones. And so that is like, how do you get centered in yourself so that you can understand when your body is saying yes or no? So that's where those tools are. Okay, I think that one's it for that. I think the elephant said resolve. You will overcome any obstacles. And the wolf at the bottom is a guardian that says you are safe and protected at all times. And I think that it comes up really well here. I mean, we just went over, if anything, we just went over some tools and protocols to think about along the way. So that's it on that one. All right. Um, okay, I gotta end the recording. I just don't know how. Okay, there we go. All right, that's 3 minutes. I think I'm gonna do one more. I was hoping to do two, but we're talking quite a bit. Elephant and wolf reclaiming power. See, I'm telling you, this fucking Loom AI is crazy. Like, accurate on that. That's scary. Anybody up for one more? If you guys are tired, I'm tired. I'm just gonna go and. Oh man, do we have anything to eat? I don't know if we have anything readily available. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, I'm just gonna go eat and do marvels if you guys are done. But if you guys want one more, we can do one more. You've done good. Oh wait, somebody did say yes. Okay, let me see. I can't see, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. So I can see on TikTok. Oh, and Zoom. Oh, well, I'm here on Zoom. Let me see. Okay. Today's class has been fire. I'm so glad. Okay, so I see, yeah, one more. Ooh. All right. I'll do one only because somebody asked. Let's see. Okay. Let me grab these cards and I will, while this is loading, I'll go ahead and shuffle and see what pops. Oops. Okay. Hey, I was talking about salmon earlier, wasn't I? There's 3 cards popped out of here. The Dove, Serenity, slow down, pause, breathe. Salmon, determination. You know where you're going and you will get there. Whale, soul's path. Honor your soul's purpose. And at the bottom, what do we have? Ooh, discernment, the lynx. Look beyond immediate appearances. Oh, geez. What is this one about? Okay, does this person have a lot? Okay, let's see. I'll just go ahead and start the recording. Okay. Oh, of course. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Welcome back. We are here with another FAQ, and I've already pulled the cards. They came out right beforehand. And we have Dove, Serenity, slow down, pause, and breathe. Salmon, determination. You know where you're going, and you will get there. Whales, soul's path. Honor your soul's purpose. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the links for discernment. Look beyond immediate appearances. All right, so I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what this one's going to be about. I saw that this only had like a few sentences up here. Um, but man, it seems like someone's going on a journey, right? They gotta go down it with determination, but to slow down and to look beyond immediate appearances. So somebody may be going really fast, and this is a moment to really take in the journey. It seems something is reminding me of Vasilisa Stahl from Women Who Runs with Wolves. It's a moment where you're going on a journey, you're going into the forest, and Baba Yaga's hut's there, but you got to use discernment, right? And this is the psyche and Arrow's story that's in the Golden Ass. You have to go on a trial and error. You got to go through the underworld and come back up. So that's the determination, right? But it's a path, and you go slow and you learn tools and skills of discernment along the way. So let's see. The question is, I would like to understand myself better. How energy works for me. What gifts do I have? And do I use them in a healthy way? All right. That's not really a question, but there's some more down here, so I'll read more. Hi, good night. Presently, I feel like I'm in a loop. I don't love the work I'm doing. I want to live a balanced life, but I don't know where to start. I don't feel aligned. My romantic relationship is, I don't know what to say about that at this point. I find it hard to set boundaries and pool them. It's easy for me to understand others, but I find that I don't get that same energy in return from people I know. And I'm kind and I understand. I'm loving, I'm patient, but I feel like setting boundaries kind of comes challenging for me at times, especially when it comes to people I love, and I find people take advantage of that. I would like to say that I was born into a spiritual family, but there were a lot of things that I didn't learn or take in my younger years. And so no, I'm on a quest. I'm on this quest trying to understand myself, trying, to be a better me just for. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Would it be like, are you a Gemini? There was not one punctuation in this at all. And the only reason why I hit that is because this person writes the way that it feels like they think. And that's beautiful in one way. And in another way, it can tell you an awful lot about what might be going on with you. Like I said, there's no punctuation. You said you find it hard to set boundaries. You see how that shows up in life? If they're Gemini, I felt. Yeah, but no. But you see how that kind of shows up in life? Like I have a hard time setting boundaries. And there's no periods here. There's no boundaries between any of these thoughts whatsoever. So I would say that probably the first thing to do would be to like start actually applying boundaries in life. That actually sets everything else into motion. Let's see. What feels confusing, blocked, or unclear? I think what hold on. The links for discernment was out here, wasn't it? And also serenity, slow down, pause, and breathe. This person has zero punctuation except for at the very end. At the very end. At the very end, there's one period in this whole thing. At the very end, slow down and breathe, right? Discernment. That's so funny how that showed up. But no, see, that's why I'm always telling you all as well to write, 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 write. Your writing will tell you an awful lot about you, but you do have to go back and read it. You do have to go back and look at it. I don't oftentimes say that you need to go back and read stuff, that reflecting during it is enough and okay, but that's usually for people who are already writing a lot. And you're writing to kind of reflect, to get yourself into the reflective space. But yeah, go back and read some of the stuff that you wrote. And especially if you go back a few months ago, that sometimes gives you a little bit of clarity of where you are now, too. Because you can distinctly see the difference between past you and you now. And also, you can work through any feelings of shame, guilt, embarrassment, cringe, anything that you like are feeling in that moment. And ask yourself, is that appropriate? If you didn't feel like, if you didn't feel that way before, right, while you were in it, like is that the is maybe the cringing and the like the judgment of self after like the judgment of a different aspect of yourself, is that an issue within you, right? Like sometimes there's so much that writing reveals. There's so much. Okay, so what feels confusing, blocked, or unclear? I think what it is for me is gaining clarity in which direction I should go, to trying to understand what I'm meant to be doing in life. What's my purpose here? That's it for me. Okay. Where do you feel the strongest signal? My gut. Okay. So that's all we have to work on. All right. So after reading that, let me scroll all the way back up to our flow diagnostic sheet. Let me scroll. Get us over here. Okay, we go. I'll say it. So where's the flow break? So this person's on a journey. Well, let me go back really quick. I don't want to misread. Let me see. Scroll. I would like to understand myself better. How energy works for me. What gifts do I have, right? They feel like they're on a loop. So they're not going in a specific direction, that they're instead repeating. They don't love the repeating loop that they're in, specifically the work that they're doing. And they want to live a balanced life, but they don't know where to start. They just don't feel aligned. And the remaining question was like, what's my purpose, right? Oh, man. Sorry, y'all. I'm starting to get all dry. Okay. Let me scroll down here really quick to operational domain. Okay, so you guys can see. Oh, shit. I'm so sorry, y'all. And TikTok can't see anything. There you go. I got you now. So operational domain. Let's look and figure out what domain we can possibly look at to see where things might be malfunctioning. What's my purpose in life? Role. That's a role thing, right? I didn't really see any nervous system regulation stuff except for boundaries. Okay, boundaries. So not knowing any boundaries and stuff, this means that obviously one's not listening to one's own nervous system, they're listening to everything else, and so they've become one with everything else, to the point of there is no stop, there is no boundary, including in the way that the thoughts are formed, right? There's no punctuation, there's no pause, there's no breath. I'm just one with all. Actually, this person might be a Pisces. Thinking about it. Hold on a second. Let me see. Open sesame. Okay. Okay. I pulled up their birth chart really quick, just to see where they're in. Sun, Cancer, Moon, Sag, Cancer. I was wrong. There's no Gemini in this chart. Oh, Jupiter's in Gemini. That's it. There's no Pisces in this chart, but that's Sagittarius energy there. The moon, Let's see. I don't know, because there's something so amiss with the magnitude and the oneness. So I wonder if there's any 12th house stuff going on. Let me see. Let me see planets and aspects. There's a lot of chart information. Sometimes when you guys send me charts, it's not just the chart. It's a whole thing. I don't know how to read this. No. I don't know if we get houses on here. I'm scrolling. It's the whole PDF. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know the houses. Let me see. Do I see any ascendant? What's their ascending? Do we have that on here? No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the houses are for this chart. That's okay. I was gonna see if there's any 12th house stuff going on, because that would tell us a lot about why there's this deep pull. It's like a deep pull into oneness with everything. Now, that being said, it could also be cultural. Some cultures really push, especially if this person is a woman, some cultures push women into being the oneness with everything and having no sense of self. So the first thing that I'm thinking of in terms of role, so we need to gather a sense of self, which is regulation, but also a role. This is identity, right? Who am I and what's my purpose here, and how do I block out everybody else and everything else and just focus on my purpose? That's going to oftentimes feel an awful lot like selfishness, okay? You start putting periods between your sentences. Now, all of a sudden, you feel like you're just trying to be somebody. You're no longer just going with the flow. Now, who are you trying to be all of a sudden? An intellectual? Everything's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be checked nice and neat. You might notice a lot of pushback in yourself. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. Is like when you go from one thing to from like not having any boundaries to having boundaries, you will immediately apply any of the justifications that you have had for not having boundaries onto yourself. So for instance, if you see someone else setting a boundary and you go, geez, you don't have to be a bitch about it, like I understand that he was kind of like out of pocket, but like you're being rude and you're kind of taking it a little far, right? Because someone said, like, bro, I don't even fucking like you. You don't even brush your teeth well. Like, leave me the fuck alone. And, like, that was them setting a boundary. Instead of being like, oh my God, you might judge that person's setting a boundary and being like, they don't have to be that harsh, right? So when you go to set a boundary, guess what you're going to say about yourself? Someone might come up to you and be like, oh my God, like, just let me have your seat, and like, kind of try to shove you over, and you go, no, I'm serious, stop. Like, no, you can't have my seat. Like, you're kind of like, what the fuck? Why would someone really think that I would just get up and let them have my seat because she wants my seat? But this person's like used to you being a pushover, but now all of a sudden you're like, no, stop. Like, maybe your leg hurts today or something and you're just not willing to entertain it. You will turn around if that person's like, geez, well, sorry, I didn't mean to like piss you off or anything. Jeez, they're going to have a big reaction because you don't normally have this reaction. So they see that your reaction is a big one. And then you go, oh my God, I'm being a bitch. I'm being an asshole because like maybe it wasn't that deep. Like maybe I just, I'm sensitive all the time or this or that. Or, you can start saying all of these, even if that's not this how you feel, that's not how you think. Now you're arguing with yourself about this because those are past judgments that you have to work through in order to be able to do the thing that you previously are stopping yourself from doing. Because it's not that you can't set boundaries. It's not, once you know what they are, you can set them easily. It's just how do you maintain that kind of habit when you're not used to maintaining that habit. So first, let me explain what a boundary is. It's very simple. A boundary is what you give your presence to or you give your absence to. That's it. That has nothing to do with anybody else. A boundary is what you either give your attention to or you give your absence to. So let's say you have a boundary. You don't like people talking about like other people behind their backs. Okay? You don't like talking about other people's like situations when they're not in the room. Okay? So you're sitting down at a dinner and it's with some people, friends or whatever, and they start talking about somebody's like business. Okay, so you set a boundary. How do you set a boundary in that moment? How do you set your boundary? Do you tell people and lecture them on the pros and cons of the virtues of not gossiping? Like, do you give them a sermon on the virtues of not gossiping? Do you get up and walk out? Do you call your friend and say, these people are disgusting, they're talking about you? Do you call them out on it and tell them, tell her what you said? Tell it to her face, as you like hold her up on FaceTime? Tell her what you said. Do you stop paying attention? Do you actively change the conversation? Do you, like there are many different options here. Pick the one that best serves you, removing your presence from whatever it is that is like causing you a problem. You just pick the best option that serves you. There is no perfect option. You just know that there are options and start doing them. And if anyone stops you and asks you, why are you doing X, Y, and Z? You can then deliver the sermon and explain why. This is a boundary that I have, right? So for me, what I normally do, it depends on the situation. If I feel like people are rightfully discussing somebody else's business because somebody put their business out there, but it's kind of tacky, I'm just going to ignore the conversation and participate in other conversations because it's just not, I find it tacky. You know what I mean? If I find it juicy, I might join in. They made it public. I don't always need to be virtuous. What the fuck? Is based on whether the fuck I want to or not, right? And that has many different other aspects to it. Maybe they're talking about somebody that I particularly think is kind of an asshole, a little bit of a tool. I'm going to participate and enjoy. And I'm also, I would say it to their face. I'm not going to say anything that I wouldn't say to that person's face, though. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep everything above the table. Maybe I might change the subject if I think it's in poor taste. And like somebody's egging, like somebody's pulling or fishing for information. If I feel like there's malicious intent, I'll change the subject, simply because people get tempted by malicious intent and will reveal things whether they mean to or not. And if I feel like all of those things aren't an option, I'll just leave. I'm not going to entertain something that I don't want to entertain. Like if it makes me feel, if it makes me look at everyone else and get the ick, like if I'm looking at these other people, I'm like, really, this is who you fucking are. Like this is who you are. Then I'm not gonna fucking sit here and eat food. I'm just gonna be like, I'm going. Like I'm leaving. Yeah, no. Because now I got problems with all of you. Like, you know what I mean? This is when like this, I'm like, this guy comes out. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what the fuck? No, like you explained to me why this is a topic of interest for you of all people, and over here, I know you're not talking about this shit. Like everybody's about to not only get their asses handed to them, but they're gonna get it handed to them on a silver plate. In fact, I am gonna stay here because I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm going to eat every single morsel off this fucking plate. Yeah, actually, I changed my mind. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now everybody's kind of ashamed and wants to change the subject. Yeah. Yeah, now all of a sudden I'm the mean guy. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes one of those situations. If I'm okay entertaining that, then fine. But if not, then I leave. Get what I mean? Like, it's not about avoidance. It's not about extra. You have many options. Do the one that best serves you. There's no such thing as perfection. People like to get on this app and talk about what you're supposed to do. If your friends are talking about other things, this is what you do. No, you don't do anything except for what serves you in the moment. That's necessary. Because, like, in the moment is context. If you don't have context, then you're just doing stupid shit. Like, you can't pre-rehearse something that hasn't happened. That makes you crazy. That means you're not living in reality, in the shared reality. You're using everybody as an opportune moment to play pretend about some weird shit you thought up in your head. You know what I mean? You don't have to do all that. You just use what you just choose the option at the moment. But the options are, what do you give your attention to and what do you give your absence to? If you would like to loosen a boundary, so let's say you have a boundary against people touching you, right? You're like, no, except for people you like, okay? And so far, you're hanging out with people, and all of these people are people that you are acquaintanced with. And then you start really just vibing with this other person, okay? And then, oh my God, is she reaching over and giving you a hug? Oh, obviously. And you enjoy it. This is you giving attention. Lean in. Lean in. Now you're both hugging. Look at that. Oh, close your eyes. Is it going to be PDA soon? I just had this realization that PDA is not sexual. I used to go around being like, I can't stand PDA. I cannot stand it. And I've said that to you guys too. And I just had the realization the other day, and I was like, it's not PDA that I have a problem with. It's people like, fucking other people and like in front of other people that like don't invite me into your sexual encounters non-consensually. You know what I mean? Like if I want to peeping Tom or something like that, like ask me first. I know that defeats the whole purpose of peeping, but like I prefer consent. Like ask me. I don't know. You know what I mean? Tell me a rendezvous. Leave it up to me to decide. Don't just like do it in front of me. Like if I'm walking past somebody's window and I happen to see something, oh my goodness, I get to have my little red cheeks and walk off. You know what I mean? But like we're at a park. We're all hanging out playing fetch. I don't know. What do people do these days? And then you're just like, let me tongue my girlfriend. That'd be weird. I'd be like, what is happening? I just realized that's not PDA. That's more than PDA, isn't it? Anyways, I keep calling it PDA. I gotta get the right language. But the point is what I'm saying is like, consent matters, right? And so I prefer consent into situations where I'm interacting in public with other people. And that requires context. If I don't want to be a part of something, then I remove myself. And that requires context, because how do I remove myself? That doesn't mean that I get up and walk away. That is a option, but there are many other ways of removing yourself from a situation, a conversation, or an environment. That doesn't always mean physically. You just have to think a bit more creatively. And this doesn't mean we're coming up with things. It just means you are becoming more aware of mature ways of navigating situations. You're just learning how to navigate more complex situations, and that's okay. And you're not always in, you're not looking for perfection. You're looking for what brings you joy in the moment. You'll know, because does it bring me joy to talk shit on this person? I'm feeling more and more weighed down, more and more negative as they keep going in the conversation. Yeah, let me jump right in, it feels great. No. So if it doesn't feel good to lean in, then you need to lean out. And if it feels awkward to lean out, like you're choosing between two people, who's forcing you to choose? Who's forcing you to choose? Are you choosing between two people? Are you choosing between yourself and other people's peer pressure for what they're doing with you? But you still have to consent. Do you want to be part of it or not? Anytime you low key consent to being part of something but begrudgingly do it, you're not like a saint. This is not a saint's behavior. You're just participating like a coward. That's it, right? So instead, you ask yourself, what do I want to give my attention to? What do I want to remove my attention from? And then how do I want to do that? And then you can check in with yourself. Do I feel removed enough? Maybe you just choose not to participate in the conversation. And then you still feel terrible. You don't want to even be here. You're starting to realize everybody's a weird, two-faced, lying asshole, and you're grossed out. Okay, then like you can leave now. You know what I mean? Then just check in. That doesn't mean, oh, you didn't get up and leave at the moment. You're bad. You're no. You're just doing what serves you in the moment. And that literally is now, now, now. Every moment is a moment you can check in and say, do I like this, right? And then you can just realize, if you go home and like let's say you just didn't participate in the conversation and it died off, and then you went on about your, and then like everything else went on, it was great. Does it mean that like now you're overlooking people's poor behavior, that you were shown a red flag and you didn't do it? No, it just means like perhaps these people have drama with other people and they just feel comfortable talking about their drama in front of you. You don't have to participate in it. You don't have to feel one way or the other. You don't have to pick between sides. It's about you and whether or not you want to participate in all of that or not. If you don't want to participate in it, don't. For neither side. And neither side. You know, there's lots of people out there who are like, people who choose no sides aren't girls. No, they're called mature women, men. People who just navigate life based off of being centered and regulated are legitimately just choosing peace. And if they're choosing peace, that doesn't mean that they're avoiding war. It means that they don't want anything to do with it, and that's a difference. And sometimes you push them people, and they're the ones who, now you're avoiding war because you don't woke the beast. You know what I mean? That's like when they say, leave the peaceful warriors alone, the people who don't want to be bothered by either particular part of it. Because if you do, you knock on that door, you might hear about every single fucking problem that's wrong with you, and that other person will hear about every single fucking problem that's wrong with them. And then you'll realize that you guys are being immature, and that this person's pissed off, and they think lowly of both people, and now everybody's sad. You know what I mean? That's what happens a lot, to be totally honest. You know, a good example of that, I used to watch this one show called Terrace House before I found out that everybody was drunk and terrible. But anyways, before, it was like their first or second season, Terrace House in Tokyo. There was this one guy, I think, who was an architect, and he walked into the house. He was older than everybody, obviously. I don't think his name might have been Guy, or it started with a T. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, he walked in. He was very mature. You know, he was somebody who's a bit more advanced in life and stuff like that. So every time people were squabbling, he'd just, you know, he'd come in with reason, and then everybody would feel weird and sad, and like they I mean, they were grateful, you know, they loved him and stuff like that. But it was just really obvious that, you know, they were bickering, that they were seeing life from a limited perspective, and that he had a more expanded perspective. And that happens all the time. People are so unaware of the people who have a higher perspective, because, you know, how can you be aware of something that you have yet to achieve? So that's why I'm saying, choose what best serves you in the moment. That's emotional intelligence. Now, if you're flopping back and forth between people and sides and this and that, you're not choosing what best serves you. You're choosing what best serves your idea and your ego, first of all, of what you think your position is in a group. That's not you, that's an ego, right? It's not about navigating people. It's about what is healthy for you and your whole ecosystem. Not just when you're around these people. Oh, well, then when I'm around these people, I do this. But when I'm around these people, I do this. You are the same fucking individual around both these people. If you are two-faced in the situation, you are harming yourself. That is the definition of self-harm, right? I can't reconcile who I am. So I am two-faced, and a lot of people get caught in that space and they think that I was just trying to be helpful. I was just trying to understand everybody. Yeah. And that's the openness, right? In fact, the student might be dealing with to some degree, right? Let's see. My romantic relationship is, I don't know what to say about that at this point. I find it hard to set boundaries in a pull them. It's easy for me to understand others, but I find that I don't get the same energy in return from people. I know that I am kind and understanding. I'm loving and patient, but I feel like setting boundaries kind of comes challenging for me at times, especially when it comes to the people I love. And I find that they take advantage of that. Of course they do. But if people are taking advantage of that, then that's when you drop the fucking hammer, because that is disrespectful. You know, the one thing I said, and this is the one thing I teach my kids, is, everybody knows when they're being taken advantage of. So if someone goes out of their way to give you an opportunity, never fucking take advantage of that. Even if it's somebody you don't like, don't take advantage of it. In fact, I knew somebody who did that. She had a sister and she didn't like her sister. So, but when she was down really bad, her sister gave her a job and stuff like that. And I think she even borrowed money from her sister at one point in time. And when her sister asked her to pay for it back and stuff, naturally, she was like, because I don't like her, I don't have to pay her back. Fuck you, fuck this. And then she said, oh, she's lying, this, that, and the other. She just was like, oh, I didn't borrow money from her. She's a liar, this, that, and the other. Then she tried to make, the rest of her family feel sour about her sister in this way. And I told her at the very beginning, if someone gives you an opportunity, even if you don't like them, first of all, if you don't like somebody, you probably shouldn't take the opportunity that they're giving you. You're just setting grounds for feeling resentment. So you either have to be willing to see them totally differently and to work with them and to collaborate and stuff like that, or just leave it. And of course, she took it because, well, it was better to have a job and have money than to not. So she took that. But then she treated her sister poorly. And I said that you don't do that. You do not take advantage of the opportunity that somebody gave you, regardless of whether you like them or not. Why? Because it makes you a fucking idiot. It makes you an idiot. You will habitually train yourself to be a piss ant person for however long you're doing that with that person. You do not exist in isolation. You exist as an being in all aspects of your life. So the same you that pisses on somebody over here and then smiles in somebody's face over here is the same person, which means eventually you're going to start pissing it on the people that you're trying to smile at, because you can't tell the difference, because you're living two lives, two different people, but in one body. Eventually that stuff is going to mesh and meld and come together, and you're going to get confused. Start building lies and stuff, you get confused. So the thing that I'm getting at here is people know when they're taking advantage. So therefore, it is 1000% okay to completely not have any feelings for whatever could befall somebody and whatever boundary you set and however hard they hit that wall. They'll be just fine. They'll be just fine. And if they're not, and you have to go no contact, or they decide to go no contact or whatever, you all will be just fine. Life moves on. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It simply changes itself in many different ways. People die every day. People have to grieve. People have to move on. People are literally trying their damnedest to carve out a life in this world. So it is better for you to put all of your energy into being the healthiest version of yourself, so that you can be in service of not only your great design, your future, but that and everyone else's who is also working and conspiring in your favor, because they're also aiming at their joy, aiming at personal fulfillment, whatever that looks like. It is better to spend your time doing that than to sit going round and round and round and round in a loop with people who are literally just trying not to go anywhere because they are afraid of taking their own steps. They're afraid of climbing their own mountains. Whatever is going to hit them, whether it be a wall that takes them out of this life or one that just drags them, through it a little bit longer, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. That's a fucked up thing to have to come to terms with, but that is something that everybody has to come to terms with at the end. One day you will die, and you will not be able to control or be there to make people feel good or do all the shit that you do. They'll have to figure it out on their own at that point. So either they use you up like a dried up fucking raisin until that day, or you go be a grape. Go live your luscious life. And they can figure it out earlier, sooner, later. That's on them. That's on them. We don't need to know all of that. But what you need to do is to understand that if you're being taken advantage of, then you are also in disservice of the people that are taking advantage of you. You're all in bad habits. So you just start making your good habits. They will do whatever they're going to do. As you make your good habits, you will see the difference. You will feel different. You will be different. And no, you will not feel the same way that you do when you start out. When you start out, it's terrible. You feel horrible. You feel like you're betraying everybody. You're doing all the terrible stuff, taking care of yourself because you have conditioned yourself for how long? I'm telling you, this person didn't put any periods in. No punctuation whatsoever. Um and that tells me that like you didn't even like you don't even give yourself the time to look over to care for your own thoughts, to construct them well enough to be heard and understood. How long have people not been listening to you, not understanding you, not paying attention to you, to the point where your flow is just, well, maybe, I don't know, who knows. This means that yourself is completely, I don't know, who knows. It's that kind of feeling. The self is out there like that. Rather than being centered, I know. This is. I am. So, role regulation. That's what I would start with, though. I would actually, in this particular case, I would go through everything. I would go through everything one bit at a time. But I'd start with roles and responsibilities. Actually, no, I'd start with regulation. So, in this particular instance, let me go over to the. I would scroll past. I would just start with phase one. So down here. So slip detection, right? I'd start with slip detection, that something feels off. This gets you in tune with your body. Okay, the courses here are the non-material senses, embracing the elements, and planetary intelligence. Hold off on planetary intelligence. You don't need to do that right away. But do the non-material senses. That's kind of mandatory on all of them. And embracing the elements is going to teach you about your 4 different bodies so that you can develop consciousness about when you're in your physical body, when you're in your mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. Those feel different, right? Pause. I often tell people the truth within reason is in the eye of the beholder. I'm really attached to any side point of view, right, wrong, good, bad, or merely illusions to an extent. Because it's true. Like 2 people can be arguing and they're both completely right because they're both completely incompatible, but for some reason they won't walk away from each other. And neither of them is wrong. It's like Joe and Brenda. Joe's not wrong for wanting to go out and be a pirate and shit like that. I mean, as long as he's not harming anybody. If he's just out there trying to like live out his like I just float amongst the Caribbean and I give people like rides on boats and stuff and they go snorkeling and I have fun, right? He's just trying to live that. Brenda's over here trying to get promoted and do her, I don't know, tech bro dream or some shit. Neither of them are necessarily wrong. They hate each other. They think that what each other is doing is throwing away their lives. And they're both right. If they were living each other's lives, they would definitely be right. If Joe tried to do what Brenda did, he'd be throwing away his whole life. He'd be throwing away his true adventure. Brenda, the same. And so, yeah, it's like when people dislike each other or shit like that, and sometimes it's like somebody is foul, and the other person is entertaining the foulness, which makes them foul as well. When you entertain foul behavior, it's like eating in front of a dumpster. You know what I mean? Like you're just because you aren't the trash doesn't mean what you're doing isn't foul. Like you're eating by the dumpster. Like this is, cross contamination. No, I don't want to eat with you. This is gross. It's fucking gross, right? You may not be the trash, but Jesus fucking Christ, you're like really close to it all the time. Why? Like, what's going on here? Why can't we eat somewhere else? Those would be the questions that I'm asking, right? Because when you, like, it's the old saying, when you lie like dogs, you get up smelling like them, if you lie with them. So, the Creative Awakening is another class on here. And between this one, embracing the elements, and the 12 non-material senses, those are the ones that I say start with first, simply because you learn how to journal. And you also learn about your four bodies, and you start practicing consciousness with them and actual practical applications. You do the practical things that I list for you to do, you will notice the changes immediately, because I'm just bringing your attention to stuff, and then you're just practicing bringing your attention to it. You get what I'm saying? And then Mastering the Cosmos was on here, wasn't it? No, 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 it's not. But it's down here, I think. Oh, maybe it's not. Recovery practices, protocols. Yeah, it's not here until we get to phase 3, role calibration. So, yeah, between those 3 classes, creative awakening, embracing the elements and non-material senses, you have covered a lot. A lot to really start the basics of being like, I am where I'm headed, what my goals are, who am I, and I have the tools to be able to check in with myself, because those are ever changing things and conversations. And now I'm getting into the habit of having a like life with myself. Like, I'm in the habit of being in communication with myself, and to understanding and being organized, and like seeing myself in a multifaceted way, being able to switch into different aspects of me on demand. Like, that's another thing that I do. I return to the now, and I allow the version of me that's coming into the now to come in. I don't try to force myself. So what that looks like is, I'll give you today. So oftentimes, in the mornings, I'm not a teacher. In the mornings, I am just me. Okay. I wake up human. By the time I leave my room, I hope that I have humaned enough that I am able to meet the day. You get what I'm saying? That's the goal. And so by the time I leave the room, usually if it's Monday through Friday, I'm teaching. Okay. And I'm teaching like third grade or sixth grade. It really depends. And it's summer right now. So it's like, we don't really live in the same kind of like way that other people do at the public school schedule. We're like all round, life is school. Anyways, you get the point. But we're in those particular areas. So I teach for that. That's a very specific mindset. That's a very specific type of pedagogy. You know what I mean? Like, my facilities are running at full speed in many different ways. And I'm like also navigating, helping children understand the difference between school and home, and free time and all of that. Because as a parent, or as a teacher of young children, you still are teaching them how to human at the same time. It's a thing. So, like, how do you teach a human to, how do you teach a small child to human as a teacher versus as a parent is totally different. And they do require you to approach that differently, doing school time versus doing home time. So, like, that requires a full total, you see how that requires a total different aspect of me than the one that I woke up to. And then when school time's over, I gotta let that teacher go. You know what I mean? I don't want to be clocked in as a sixth grade teacher my entire day, all day, every day. That's crazy. No, after, like, once 2 o'clock hits, bye. You know what I mean? I kick the kids out. Sometimes I go somewhere so I can just completely unfold. And then when I return to the now, I return as me. Some aspect. Mom is usually shows up, more so in the evenings. Like, I like to give my kids, a good solid, well-rounded, like at least 3 hours. The lady said this on a podcast, and people freaked out. And it's like giving uninterrupted time with a person, or a cumulative time of 3 hours a day, is quite a lot. It's quite a lot to give full attention to a social exchange for 3 hours a day. It's quite a lot. Because kids naturally are supposed to have many other social exchanges and stuff with other people, not just one parent. So, anyways, so, by the time, like, 2 o'clock to, if it's today, 2 o'clock to 5, I'm a totally different aspect of me who's being taken care of. So, today I just played games, you know what I'm saying? And then when I'm here, it's just totally different aspect. I also have to allow this version of me to come into now. Then when I'm off, and like, man, them kids are going to bed, I'm off. It's just me and husband. Oh man, I love it. I'm a totally different bitch then. You know what I mean? Like, all different aspects of me get to like come out and express, and they're all connected. There's no disjointedness, nothing to hide between any one, this or that, but there's lots of boundaries. There's lots of boundaries. You know what I mean? The boundaries are what help you stay in your general like centeredness. If I'm not teaching, then I don't want to be approached that way. You know what I mean? But that also means I don't, if somebody sends me a message and I'm not teaching at that moment, like, I have to wait until I'm in that aspect. I wait. I don't respond. I don't force myself to come into this place. You know what I'm saying? If I have something to say immediately, I do. If I don't, and my mind's like, well, I don't know, then I wait. Do you know how many times somebody has asked you, think about this, raise your hands. If anybody has ever asked you a question when you're not in the headspace to answer it and you feel frustrated that they even asked you because you're like it's causing a traffic jam in your head. It's easy to put that frustration on the person who asked you, right? To like think that somehow they're at fault for causing a traffic jam, when the truth is boundary. If you're starting to traffic jam, just go, ooh, not right now. I don't have that time. I can't do that right now. And then I'll do that when I can. Well, when? If your brain is asking you when, tell your brain, I don't fucking know when it comes up. I trust that it'll come up when it's time. You know what I mean? Like when I'm ready, it'll be there. It's there right now, waiting for me. That goes with determination. You know where you're going and you will get there. Honor your soul's purpose. Slow down, pause, and breathe. It's the cards, they're popping up over and over in this. Let me see. Is there anything else? Yeah, I would just go down reorientation protocols. See, like, but in between phase 1 and 3, if you just do the non-material senses, embracing the elements, creative awakening, you've learned about 1, 2, 3, 4 different tools while taking those 3 courses, and you can just do one of them. One of them, creative awakening, then do embracing elements. You can do those 3 at the same time, you know what I mean? And then after that, when you go to phase 3, I would do Master the Cosmos. That's your first astrology one. This is for role calibration, and that'll be the new one that you do. And then planetary intelligence comes after that. That's really nice. And then you could do creative entrepreneurship, and boom, now you've got, with those set of 3, you've got 3 or 4 new tools at your disposal. And then when it comes to timing literacy, there's really only one course here that hasn't been taken yet, Mastering Transits. There you go. And and the rest of the tools have already been picked up elsewhere. So that's what I'm saying. Like, but there's really 6 courses that you do. And between those, you get all the tools. But in any one course, we're focused on all of these things. I cover everything almost in every single course, just in different ways and in different depth levels and stuff. So it's more so about, can you identify, can you recognize these tools? In fact, I would always keep this sheet and go back to it. Do you recognize your ability to detect when you're slipping from consciousness? Do you have slip detection? Do you have it? Just ask yourself that. Do I have it? Do I know when it's happening? That's the first question. Do you have can you regulate your stimulation, right? Do you have any did you regulate? The last time you were overstimulated, how did you regulate? Did you have those? Great. How did you recover from losing consciousness, right? Like, did you feel shame, guilt, and go into a spiral? Or did you just like breathe and go, oh, well, whatever, at least I'm back now, right? Reorient. How do you reorient? Do you do that well? Like, if you just start to notice the way in which you do these things, and that's how you know that you have those skills and you're good, And I think that's it for this one. Yeah. So this one will be probably something like dove, salmon, whale, lynx. I don't know. Some of these animals will be in there. And the title will be something. Let me go ahead and end the chat, and then I'll know what the title is. I'll be able to tell you guys. Not in the chat, but in this one. All right, so that's it. We'll come back next week with some more. Did I hit the record button? Y'all, I don't think I recorded this. No, it is recording. But where? No. How do I get it to stop recording? Okay, well, let me just hit end recording here and see what happens. Okay, let's see what the title is. How Boundaries Create Purpose and Alignment. Man, you were supposed to put like whale and shit, bruh. Dove. Let me put that myself. Dove, whale. Lynx. What was the other one in there? Salmon. That's right. I've been listening to some wild fucking music, guys. I don't even know what the hell's happening in my ears right now, but it's cool. It's like some EDM a little bit. I don't know. All right, guys. So I'm gonna have this up by the end of the week. I got some other shit that I'm trying to like roll out to and do. Oh, pop in Saturday. We're doing arts club. Okay. I'm gonna explain what we'll be doing on Saturday. We're just gonna make a maps. Neverland. It's just a little art project and shit, just to kind of chill and make stuff and have fun and just like be artistic. You know what I mean? To just carve out time. What I'd like to do is just to give everybody a chance and also to be the reason, right? That somebody at least carves out time, just to carve out time to do art, just to carve out time to sit long enough to focus on one thing and do that thing and have fun. You know what I mean? Like you make a masterpiece, great. You make some ugly shit and you don't want to share it, that's fine too. You know what I mean? Like the point is just to get in the habit of carving out that time and like really enjoying oneself and just exploring and understanding what art, even being an artist, what making art is like. You know what I mean? Um, and if you already know that, just having the time. That's it. Yeah, but I'll talk more on Saturday. I'll probably put out a link soon. For it. It's at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, so 2 hours later than our usual class. Because I was like, there's no way I can do this starting at 5 o'clock. I need like chill time. You know what I mean? If we're gonna chill, we'll be chill. All right, everybody. I think that's it for me. I gotta go because I'm hungry and I want to play more video games, or maybe we'll watch a movie. I don't know. I want to close my eyes. I'm sleepy. Let me turn off this thing so I can see everybody on TikTok. Already. Oh no, I can't. Oh, there you guys go. Oh yeah, good night. I'm so glad. Alien-esque, hey? See you. Have a good evening. You guys too. Have a great night. Everybody enjoy. I'll see you next week. All right, see you Saturday if you're coming to our club. And if not, see you next week. Bye, everybody. All right. I'm ending everything. I'm ending it. Bye. I'm ending it live. All right, let me see. That's going to take a little bit to pop out. Okay, everybody. I'll see you guys over the Zoom. Get in that really quick. Dang, I don't even see myself. Oh, there we go. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Bye, all. Okay, and